Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our annual Bilston Group Marketing Meetup. I'm Mina Smijenic and I'm truly happy to be here again with you all. This year, we're asking a simple but powerful question. Why do people really buy products? Especially in technical industries where logics and specs usually seem to drive the conversation. Is it purely rational, or is there something deeper going on? Today, to help us explore this interesting question from different angles, we are joined by two outstanding voices in the world of digital strategy and performance marketing. Today with us, we have Lars Silberbauer. Hello. Lars is a global marketing leader with such an experience in technology, entertainment, and sports. He served as Chief Marketing Officer at HMD Global, leading brand repositioning and partnerships with Barbie, also Football Club Barcelona and Heineken. Previously, he led Lego's digital transformation and launched Lego TV in 40 markets, earning awards. Lars also revitalized MTV Digital Studios, etc., worked also with the International Olympic Committee on global brand strategy. So we have so much to talk about, and I guess we are really honored to have you here today with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. We will get to our questions, but I also want to introduce our second guest, also with an impressive background, Viktor Stoilov. Viktor is the founder of and CEO of Mark Academics, a leading agency specializing in advanced paid advertising strategies on Facebook and Google. He is also a lecturer, and he has helped numerous e-commerce brands achieve significant growth, managing over 8.5 million in ad spend and delivering strong returns on investments. As I said, he's a speaker and a lecturer, also hosts a podcast. So you could be here in my spot. His work has been recognized by Forbes, which included him in 30 Under 30. So good for you, and thank you for being here today with us, both of you.
Thank you for inviting us.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Look forward to the conversation. Definitely.
Okay, great. So we can start, and we want to understand what truly drives people to buy, to purchase any products, especially in technical industries. So I think, and I hope we will all agree that in the center of that is trust. So let's start right there. People often don't truly understand technical parts, maybe in technical industries, but yet they still make trust-based purchases and decisions. So on your opinion, why do people trust a brand? And I would like to start with you, Lars, because we mentioned yesterday that you were really interested in this topic, trust in.
Definitely, but I'm actually going to jump back to the first question you asked about, like, why do people buy a product? And I think it is basically because they need something, but that can be a functional need, or it can be an emotional need, or another need that they really want to fulfill. So that's where trust comes in, about how you change that need that they have to make them buy your product and not someone else's product. And that's where trust comes in. And what I've seen across my career in different big companies, it's always about, again, being like making people aware of things, making sure that they know you, make them consider, and then make them actually trust you enough to actually make that purchase. Then if your product is good enough, then they trust you and they like the product, and then they'll actually keep recommending you to your friends and so on. So that's basically the traditional funnel that is. But again, people buy a product because they have a need, but that need does not only need to be a functional need. It can also be like an emotional need, some like personal need that they really want to fulfill something different in their lives. It can be personal realization. It can be about their kids with Lego or many other things. So I think it's really important to understand that there are different needs that you are satisfying with looking for a product. And then you can also basically create that need, and that's where marketing comes in before the sales process actually kicks in. So that's where I think it's important to take the different steps one by one before we come to the trust part. But yeah. That's my initial thoughts on that one.
Oh, great, great. You have a really great experience doing with Lego. So it's an interesting brand because in a way it's technical, but still it's mixed with emotions like childhood, our kids, even grown-ups like Lego. So do you think that in technical industries like auto parts, we can use some part of strategies that you used in Lego, like that emotional part? Can it work?
Well, like I'm not going to be like I'm not super expert on car parts and so on, but I do know, for instance, that Lego is the biggest tire manufacturer in the world. So Lego tires are the most like the most produced and sold tire in the world. So at least that part is quite similar. But I think when it comes to, for instance, Lego, the interesting part here is like no one or very few Lego collectors, they need another Lego brick. They have thousands of bricks already. They don't need another brick. But you have the emotional need to, I want that set. Even though that Lego set is a combination of bricks you might already have. And that's where the emotional part comes in. And that's where Lego is very special because it has a very strong brand and a very big it creates that desire that is really important with many. And what I saw like when I was at Lego was very much we posted a new set, and it could be like a big technique set about like a Volvo Caterpillar or like an excavator or something, and you would basically see a lot of people who are also like quite technical savvy people in technical industries. They would just write on social media like take my money, and they don't know why, but just like they would just like put thousands of dollars up front just to buy that Lego set because it has not a functional need, but a really emotional need. They just crave that part of it. And I think of course you also see that with the car industry or the way that people obsess about cars. Of course, you need the car to work. If you can't drive your car, like that's not a lot of like the functional part is not really working right. But there's also a lot of things with the emotional part of having like I love cars myself. I was brought up, my parents didn't have a car, so I love cars. So I know that desire and that emotional uh, drive you have to really like care about your car and get the best part for your car. So I think it's both, of course, a functional need. If your car doesn't work, not a lot of a car, but you also there's an emotional part. And I think that the combination of that will actually make people pay more money. You'll get higher margins as a company if you're able to both combine the emotional drive and desire with the functional need that you have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I would like to hear your point when we talk about trust. Is it from the point we have a need that we need to fulfill, but from your e-commerce experience and
Yeah.
perspective, how do brands gain trust in their audience?
First of all, what Lars was mentioning is like the absolute fundament of marketing here. And on one end, you have I mean, the car needs to work. I mean, that's the rationale. But on top of that, your car or your vehicle, whatever it is, I mean, it's a representation of who you are, and it might be your fleet of trucks that you're having. I mean, that's a representation of your company, and you want to be better than everybody else. You want to have the better parts. You want to have the stronger trucks, and that's as a CEO or as a manager in that company, that's really important for you to know. So that's where the emotional side kicks in. I want to be better. I want to be better than the competitor. And if it's for a personal reason, I mean, again, especially for people in Southern and Eastern Europe, I can definitely say that the car is like the biggest representation of who you are, basically. So you want to make sure that you're on top of this game. The rationale there is not too big. I mean, at the end of the day, you do it for purely emotional reasons. So that's why when we're having those e-commerce websites that are very plain and we don't focus on like what's the actual end benefit of having that little separate part that you want to be buying, then it really you don't get the chance to really emotionally sell then the product. So that's why I would say that, yeah, trust is a huge factor in this, and we can really dive into this topic a lot today, and I think that we will. But as a fundament today, maybe to bring that, okay, let's not purely only rationally think about e-commerce or marketing in general, but to put yeah, we're emotional creatures and we'll still be emotional creatures probably hundreds of years ahead. So
Hopefully.
hopefully, and yeah, and we have to make sure that our representation, whether it's online or offline, has to be based on this.
Okay, so we need to gain trust, but I think we can easily lose it. So from the e-commerce perspective, where's the point where we lose it if our website doesn't work or it's not all good?
You have fundamentals like the web. Obviously, like your website should be working. You should be having easy navigation inside of the website, because if I can find what I'm looking for in a very fast environment which we're living in, then I'm out. There are thousands of more options out there that I can just go Google and like see where I can buy that same part or like whatever my need is. So yeah, make sure that the website is very clean, that it's easy to navigate. It doesn't need to be beautifully designed. It shouldn't be made for like a beauty contest. I mean, it has to be practical, because this industry is very practical in this sense. But it has to be super easy to navigate. It should be keyword focused a lot, and the filters should be working well. And then the trust is not built in a second. The trust is built when you have good customer care, when you have good deliveries, when you make sure that there is no risk involved in the transaction. This is why Amazon is working, because you know that if you go on Amazon and if you buy a product, you have a money back guarantee, you have free shipping, you have all of this connected to your products, and that's something that people that are doing e-commerce and are doing direct to consumer marketing should be aware of. That clarity plus having no risk in every single purchase is like the combination that's sparking trust later on in your customer.
Okay, great.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
if I can just comment on that, like early in my career, I was very much into the theoretical part of basically how trust works in sociology and how trust really is being built, and what research shows, and it's quite obvious for people, like how you build trust between people. It's the same thing where you build trust between people and interfaces, and people like an interface and e-commerce and so on, and it's basically repeatedly just doing exactly what you're telling people that you want to do. And that's how we build trust between people. And that's the same way our brains are wired to how we build trust to companies and to e-commerce sites and so on. Keep like doing what you say that you want to do. But then in the beginning of how do we actually keep, like, how do we jump into this trust the first time? Like, how do we trust Amazon the first time? Or how do we trust a new e-commerce site the first time? That is basically humans not understanding the entire complexity. We're not wired to understand the full complexity of an e-commerce site, the delivery mechanism, all that stuff. We can't really handle all that complexity. So instead, we minimize the complexity by looking at different signs and signals, and that's where like different certifications on like industry certifications, friend recommendations, that's where they become important. And then we're willing at some point to jump into this thing about sending our money to someone we don't know through a system we can't really trust, that we don't really can see the full like insights to, and hope that they will actually return that favor. And when it's important for the e-commerce site to quickly show back the email confirmation email about like, yes, we received your money, all of those insurances that you need as a person to say like, okay, my trust is actually validated. I was good and I was right in showing trust to this e-commerce site or to this person. And if you break that trust very early in the process, then they will never come back. So that's very, and that's where Amazon, of course, is like that's the best practice, one of the best practices in how to very quickly make sure that you earn that trust. And that's also why we keep repeating our purchases on Amazon's in different industries, different genres, because we have trust already in that system. So that's how trust is built between human, and we're people. We're not being built to act and live in a digital society. We're built to like be in the forest somewhere hunting animals. That's where we're used to. We're being built by thousands, millions of years to show trust in our close community, our tribe, perhaps other tribes, and that's why humans are difficult to put trust in digital entities. But when we do, it's also quickly broken if we don't really like certify and validate that trust consistently. So that's where it's really important to understand that we're still people, and we need to be treated as people from an interface point of view.
Great, thank you. So you mentioned, okay, we need to be persistent in what we do and what we say, and but is it only like the message? You mentioned also that the recommendations are really a big part of that process, like how we make a decision or trust a brand. So would you recommend for this type of industries, like technical, to use more influencers, experts, to include that part of the marketing journey, like not only to have a great message and good online experience, like e-commerce or stuff. So is it only like a message or the messenger in?
I think first and foremost, that like with trust, 81% of decisions are impacted by trust when it comes to purchase decisions. And that's like from Edelman, who's every year they do like this big trust report about who do we trust the most of all like entities. Advertising, lawyers, not very trustworthy to be honest. Like they score very low on the trust index. But who do we trust the most? And the people we trust the most, like 61%, trust peer recommendations. So, and it's again, it's very basic. It's going back, like we are Stone Age people. We have Stone Age brains. We trust the people next to us. We trust the people that we've known more than we trust and should trust marketeers or advertisers or billboard and so on. So I'm very much, and there's this theorist, Marshall McLuhan, who said like the medium is the message, and basically what he says about that is like the medium. That means like the channel or the in this case an influencer, a person, that is the message, and that means so much for the message. Like if you have a friend saying like this car part is really great, like you should buy this one, like you would like almost certainly buy that car part if you trust that friend. So that's where peer recommendations and peer recognitions are so important. If it's an advertiser, a lot lower. If it's different like forms of advertising, banner ads on your mobile, not very trustworthy. If it's billboards, suddenly they are much more trustworthy because they're physical. And then if it's coming from a lawyer, that's probably like, and reporters also like scoring very low. So we all need to like look at ourselves and say like, well, how trustworthy are we actually? And as a marketeer, should you trust me on this one? Well, you should look at the research. It's actually true. And also, I'm putting myself as a marketeer quite far down. So it's really important to understand like those peer recommendations. That's the gold, and that's where we should always in our buying loops and our loyalty recommendation engines make sure that we incentivize people. If you buy a car park, incentivize, like tell your parents about it. Not your parents, tell your friends about it. If you tell your friends about it, you might get a voucher, you might get a discount, you might get like a coupon code or something. Really encourage those peer recommendations and peer recognitions, because that is really the best kind of advertising or recommendation that you can be, because that is the highest trustworthy recommendation that you can get in this system.
Great. And do you recommend like putting on our website those recommendations, like user testimonials or something?
For sure, actually, for sure, and they shouldn't be fake. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Let's start with this. And what Lars was mentioning is completely right. The peer-to-peer trust is like the absolute dominating factor in today's world of commerce in general, not only e-commerce. And that's the reason why there was this age of booming user-generated content. Why? Because initially it looked really authentic, and it's still looking sometimes authentic. And why? Because if I'm just the advertiser, by the way, marketers are ranking in that same list right along the politicians and the lawyers, I think, which was like the absolute bottom. So if the marketer made the ad, I mean, obviously it's going to look very advertisey, salesy like. Wow, if there's just this person who is like talking about his experience or unboxing what he did or like using it in his own car, truck, or whatever, that part, and sharing his experience, well, I'm buying this. Like I'm watching this as a video and I'm buying this with a higher rate. And that's something to be considered by everybody right now. So if you're not doing user-generated content today, then you're missing out on a huge industry. And what's really the key to nailing this is making sure that the people that are sharing their experiences are as authentic as possible. Because we as marketers, we really love scripting everything, and we script it as marketers. And that's a huge mistake, because then you're basically not authentic, like you're not genuine. And that's everybody is sensing this, and they're just not gonna be buying from you. And when we talk about influencer marketing here, it's quite important to understand something. Influencer marketing is not having somebody with an Instagram account that has lots of followers. A real influencer in a niche is somebody that is trustworthy for your target audience. And I don't care if somebody has hundreds of thousands of followers. I care if this person can talk about my product in a way that his audience and my audience can really relate to what he's saying and can trust him. So I always prefer to be working with smaller influencers, smaller content creators who actually believe in the products that I'm selling. So that when they make a video, when they make a story, when I'm using them for my ads, it looks authentic. It looks like somebody that knows their stuff. And if I'm just having a beautiful girl talking about car parts, and she's a great influencer, and she posts a story and takes thousands of my euros for that, well, I'm probably not getting my return on investment. It might look cool, it might look great for my content calendar, but is this going to be really driving sales? Absolutely not.
Would you rather recommend using a real user or an expert? Because
It's both. It's both because you're hitting different angles. Because every single person that is buying something has some objections before buying. They're considering, is this part good? Will it work for my car? Is this the right time? So they're having lots of different objections before buying something, and they might need to have an expert talking about this, or they might just need to have their another person like a peer to be like, yeah, I got this product. I didn't believe that it's gonna work so well, but it did work well for my car. So yeah, and there is a trick on this because you mentioned the order confirmations, etc. Um, Something that's really working in today's advertising world, which I love doing, is when I want a review from my customer that has already purchased from me, I'm not sending him only to my reviews page to write a testimonial. I'm sending him to my best performing ads so that they can comment below on my Facebook post or my Instagram post, because this way, when the next person sees my ad, they'll go into the comment section, which is the most important section of your ad, and they will read the real reviews and they can see if that's a real profile or that's somebody that's fake. So there's nothing better in today's e-commerce world than a meta ad that has lots of social proof below. So that's quite important. If you can do this trick, I mean, it's almost like an instant guarantee that you have higher conversion rates from your ads.
okay, it's a really good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I fully echo what was being said here. But I also want to say that and first and foremost, like the time should be, as you also said, over when if you're listening to an agency coming saying like you just need an influencer, buy some branded posts, and that is really where you need to go. You need to get Gen Zs and so on. Like it's just like no, you need to ask that agency about like what's the ROI on previous campaigns, what's the direct attribution that you're getting, how do they measure that, and so on, so on. So you need to really, and I recommend treating influencers more as affiliates than actually as influencers because you need to show, they need to basically show that they can actually give you an ROI. And again, like I like to tell influencers, like it's like no cure, no pay. Like unless you start selling products for me. If you start selling products, well, we're gonna flush you with money as long as you give me this ROI. If you're not, then I'm not gonna work with you. But I would also say that I really like companies, and also we've done it quite a lot, both at Lego and other companies, where we shouldn't underestimate our own ability as a company with our own experts to be influencers ourselves, but be fully transparent. Like make very long YouTube videos about all the technical details. Like really tell people the story about like this product is great because XYZ. It's also like this is why it costs what it costs because we have done these tests. It will last longer. It will do these things. Because if you are into like really going deep on the product, you'll start with the Instagram ads, then you start researching, then you're probably gonna go on YouTube, and then you want to see that 28-minute long video about how that product is being produced. And I love to do it myself, but we also again at Lego we had basically live builds where we would take a Lego set of 3,000 pieces and we would sit two guys down. They would get toilet breaks every second hour, but they would start building. that Lego set, and it would last like 18 hours, and there would be sitting people following that live stream from like from the first second to the last second,
Wow.
really following it. And then the amount of people who go out and buy that set after all, after the scene been built, was tremendous. So again, I don't like, and I don't subscribe to this like bite-sized and snack bite content world. Yes, you need to grab the attention, but and especially like with car parts and so on, you're not selling shampoo. You're not selling something that's like people consider what they put in their car. It's a very important vehicle for them. It's a part of their personality, and they want to go deep. They want to dive deep into this. So don't be afraid of also delivering that very detailed, very deep, very long form content about your products.
Yeah, great. We mentioned the user generated content, so I guess it's Reels. Also, we have YouTube long formats. Like, which content formats would you recommend next to it, like for the like forming trust or for conversion, like in auto parts, just to give them an idea, because we all think like people often like lose their focus. We want shorts, but maybe it's not the best way.
Yeah, I think there's two very different ways of selling. Like we've had a lot of success on TikTok Shop, and TikTok Shop is very it comes from Douyin, like the Chinese version of TikTok, where you basically have a time limit. You have a discount with a time limit. If you purchase this within the next 19 minutes, you'll get a 20% discount. That's like shopping on crack.
Yeah,
And
like Temu or
it's very very pushy, very like pushy sales where you drive dopamine layers and drive like really trick different parts of the brain. I don't really like that unless you need to sell out batches of things you have in the warehouse. I think the other and more satisfying way of selling, because I think a lot of people they regret what they purchased on those TikTok shop and Temu.
Yeah.
It's like TV shop in the old days, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, people sitting there like, oh my God, I need that like for my apps and so on, and they have five in already, and they need that new like a fondue set or whatever. And you don't really recommend that to your friends afterwards. You don't repurchase, you don't get any loyalty. You just get like this quick fix. And I think a more solid way of building both your company, your business, and your brand is to really do it the other way, where you first, of course, get awareness, you build like consideration, and then you have a product where you can both go deep about the product information, like in any kind of channel that is relevant. And then you actually have a product you can also, as you said, have smart ways of recommending further on, because the sales process, like the next sales process, starts when you receive the product and want hopefully to recommend the product to your friends.
Yeah, this is great, like perspective for gaining trust and keeping it. But from the e-commerce like side, what is the best format for conversion? Like, if we want to measure like the influencer, any campaign that we publish, like, what do you think is the best way to have a better conversion?
I just want to add up something to what Lars mentioned. And he's completely right. If I'm building a sustainable business that I really care about having there in the next 5 years, 10 years, or maybe having a generational business after that, I don't want to use this Temu-like logic that it's like, okay, quick, you have 15 minutes to buy, and I'm selling you some crap.
No chance of regret.
No, yeah. I mean,
Never, you know.
and that's something to really consider here. Do we want the quick purchases, or do we want the people that are actually like thinking about it, that will be coming back for the second, third, and fourth time? And the trend here is like obvious. Companies from the West that have faced much higher costs for advertising in the past years compared to Eastern Europe or Southern Europe, they've already done it. They start building their businesses completely focusing on how am I getting the second, third, and fourth, and fifth purchase, not just about the first one. When we're new and we want to get that first purchase, of course, we need to build some kind of an initial trust. How do you do that? Yeah, you can have those quick reels and influencers, sure. But if somebody's searching you on Google, you should pop up. You should see what maybe having a trust pilot or having some other form that's relevant to your market that is showing whether you're a good company or not. Those long form videos that you mentioned, we had that in one of my businesses, in one of my e-com stores. We went to our manufacturer and we shot a super long video that we edited and made it into 30 minutes of how we actually manufacturing our product. And I was personally doing that. And as the founder of the company, And we put that on the website, on our sales page. Boom, the conversion rate went up immediately. Why? Because like I can see that this is a genuine product and there is a genuine person that is behind it, even with his English accent. He's still there, even though I'm selling to an American audience. They were still trusting this more than not having this. So that's the key here. So look at your marketing logic and separate it into two parts. Initially, how do I sell to a person that has never seen me and has no idea who am I? And what questions will arise when they're thinking about this? Who are going to be the people that are going to influence his decision? And then build the marketing campaign based on that. And of course, how do I get him to buy for the second, third, and fourth time? Because that's where you actually make your money. You make your money when that same person orders again and refers a friend, and you don't spend that same amount of money on them to grab them. So that's basically how we should be looking at. It's much more complex. There's no one panacea that you're like, okay, I'm getting this influencer, I'm spending hundreds of thousands for that marketing campaign, and boom, I have a business. No, there's layers to it.
Yeah, and I think, but like again, it goes back to the basics of trust. Like if you have transparency with the people you want to like create trust with, if you show them, here's my home, here's my thing, like you can see everything except industry secrets. Like you should keep them like not on YouTube. But if you show everything else, you do build trust. And it's the same thing with when you meet people like dating, whatever it is. Like if people are hiding a lot of, if they feel like closed, it's just like, here's my ad, here's my nice picture. You don't trust them. But if they show, like even those challenges that might be in a company process or a production process, if you show that, people trust you a lot more, and they're actually willing to accept mistakes. They're willing to accept that not everything is perfect if you tell them why and give them the reasons. So I think that's really important to show that transparency and let people actually dive down into their like the details of your product. And then you can also, as a company, if you put it out there, you can tell the story and make sure that no one else tells it on your behalf. Because I'm sure a lot of competition will like to tell your story about how you actually make the product instead of you. So if you put it out there, you also are somehow putting some guardrails around your product, around your brand, and letting people experience it by themselves and find it instead of letting someone else push them their story to you, to your consumers.
Yeah, great. And maybe the point isn't always to sell, it's not every content shouldn't be only like sales motivated. We can educate, we can build trust, we can inform or give some free, now mostly brands and like entrepreneurs do some webinars, some educational formats, and then they collect leads, and then they keep people close, and then they can maybe in a week or 2 or 3 sell something to them. But first they're just bringing them close with some free stuff. So what's your like view of that?
So I would say, and I was lucky enough to present at a conference in Kazakhstan recently, together with Jordan Belfort, who's the real Wolf of Wall Street. So the guy that he had a wild life, and that's the Wolf of Wall Street story is built on his career, and he was definitely a sales guy. He was not about the long term. He was definitely about the short term sales. But I really like one of his. I clearly bought into his presentation, as you can see. One of his tactics is by selling is also within the first 15 seconds to make sure that the person you're selling to considers you an expert in the field. And that's really, really important, because that's not about like just selling. It's not about just pushing. It's also about establishing that trust in you as an expert. So I think that's really important, that's even though that might be considered brand building or competency building or trust building, it is still, like, from the most hardcore sales guy that I know, one of his sales tactics as well. So I hate it when people are saying like, oh, this is just educational content. Like, no, this is part of the sales process as well.
Yeah.
Like if we want to consider sales as cold calling with a discount, then that's a pretty basic and also not very sustainable kind of selling in the long term. So I think it's important to also consider educational part, and you don't need to do it your Jordan Belfort way. You can also do it a more advanced way of building that trust and building those competencies and building yourself and your company as an expert, so people will buy.
Is there any like content format that we maybe missed to like okay, there are maybe some videos that can be installation guides, something that can be useful to the audience, but also like 3D models, AR, you know, technology is so advanced now. We maybe think too traditional when we think about content, like user-generated content, of course, influencers, but is there something else? Just
I've started to enjoy, like when everyone goes left, you need to diversify
right,
yourself
yeah.
and go right.
Yeah.
So when everyone else is making reels and like whatnot and AR and whatnot, like I like ads in taxis, like taxi ads. Like in New York, you have these screens in taxis. I like outdoor because you can't switch off outdoor commercials. You can't switch off. Like you will see them. Cinema commercials as well. Like I think a lot of ads money has gone into the new platforms and so on, which has made it not, I wouldn't say cheap, but affordable. And if you do tactical buys, niche buys, and really narrow targeting on outdoor. I recently bought like an entire Barcelona airport because we knew that we had a lot of customers going through. If you do that, then suddenly they get the impression that you're way bigger than you are, and you get a lot more media exposure for your money. So if you have the right combination of really you integrate marketing, you need to target both, of course, the digital platforms and so on. But if you do it in a very targeted way, you can actually achieve a way higher impact than you can with just like spreading your money thin across all the big platforms, because CPMs are not cheap on the platforms anymore, and you need to be very targeted. You need to watch your use your frequencies. You need to watch really like how you're spending it, because suddenly you can spend lots of money without getting real impact.
And the CPM is like the cost per 1,000 impressions for
right.
our for our viewers, and he's completely right in this. Everyone is on the bandwagon of digital ads, and that's why when you talked about formats, I was saying that it's not enough just to have user-generated content or just to have influencers. By itself, that's nothing. Like it was something maybe in 2019, 2018, like it was still working just like that because the CPMs, like the cost for just advertising on those platforms was cheap. Yet now we have to be extremely smart with this because the cost is high, the competition is very high as well, and I'm battling with the algorithm as well. So I need to make sure that I have the wow factor initially in the ad. I have the trustability, so I have to establish my authority not in 15 seconds in the like I would probably on a conference or at a conference. I have to establish that trust in the first 3 to 4 seconds of my ad to capture the attention, to build trust, to establish trust, and then to educate and sell. So that's why it's a tricky game nowadays. However, it's very simple when you have a few of the elements that are important, as we mentioned. Why not have a production video? Why don't have, let's say, the founder story or the founder talking about something, or maybe the chief technological person or the person that's like the engineer, the chief engineer, to talk about this part and comparing it to the others.
If that person is good on camera and actually works, because you need to find the right people.
Yeah,
Sometimes they can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, it could be a little bit tricky, but still, I prefer to watch a video that's a little bit more boring, I would
Absolutely,
say, by a person that I can see that they understand their work, and just comparing, let's say, two parts. Here is my part. It's like, yeah, it's $15 more. It costs $15 more or $150 more. And here's the general one that you're getting out of the whatever other story you're having. If you have a person with authority talking about this, then yeah, I'm buying. So don't overcomplicate it, but also don't buy this dream that marketers are selling you that, hey, you need everything to be flashy, we need to be everywhere, we need these influencers and campaigns and so on. They're very expensive and they do very little for your return on investment.
Yeah, like don't try to be Nike. Like
Yeah.
Nike, and I've produced quite a lot of that content in that ballpark. That's millions of dollars just to produce 60 seconds, like millions of dollars. And then you need to add like 20, 30, $50 million on top just to media spend. And that works for Nike because they have their model and they have their like size of business. But I really hate when small companies or other like businesses are trying to look like that, because that takes so much effort and so much money, and that works for that brand. Instead, go completely again. When people go left, you go right. Go authentic, go real authentic. Don't make it too shiny, too flush. But like, of course, make sure the audio is nice and make sure that it works. But don't try to be something that you're not, because that is competing with Nike and Coca-Cola. That takes Nike and Coca-Cola money, and very few companies have that.
Yeah, you mentioned using real faces, like so brands, I think it's the part of the past, had those like faceless campaigns, like they didn't bring their employees or anyone from the team. So do you recommend that like presenting the team or doing some I don't know how to say, like bringing them to the living room of the company, just introducing the core team or something?
Yes, if it can be done in an authentic way.
Yeah.
And that really is where it gets tricky, because we all want to expose us and come across as better than we are, which is also part of marketing, which also you should. But that's a very, very thin red line that you can't cross about when it starts to be corporate speak.
Yeah.
When you have someone reading from a script about we are the best company and we do the like, then suddenly you know, and we all feel it.
People feel it.
But it's very tricky, and also from a producer point of view and director point of view, to actually like to work with people who are not actors and to still make them look and sound authentic. And again, I would say, like, some people they have it and some people they don't. Some people you can help a bit and some people they don't. I worked a lot with FC Barcelona and athletes at the Olympics. And even though they might be super athletes, they're not actors. So also to get them to just act in front of a camera without really saying anything, or just not even the script, just smiling in the right way, that can be quite a challenge. So it's, if it can be done in an authentic way, and then you need to find the people in your company that are the natural stars who just got it and actually want to do it and want to stand and be the face of the company, because sometimes that also comes with a bit of a backlash if the company has some mistakes being done.
We need to like invest in people, like educate them, some public speaking.
Yeah, you can help on this one.
And you can say just one example that's very controversial, Elon Musk, for instance, like, has he a lot of fans? Yes. Has he a lot of like detractors? Absolutely. And like, I love the clip that most people have seen on YouTube, where he's taken an influencer around to show him like the booster rockets, and the influencer comes with a question about like cold gas or something about that, and he just quickly wonders, oh, we could actually do that. And a month after, they changed the whole like fueling system and combustion engine on the rockets. Like, that is truly authentic. But still, also Elon unhinged Friday night on whatever he's doing Friday night also creates a bit of issues. So it's really tricky. But I would always recommend going that way, because the Nike way is only for Nike.
Okay, great. And also, you mentioned the algorithm. We need to fight it. We need to get the attention really quickly. So we're on the edge of chasing some trends. So do you recommend, there is a hook we need to build on the beginning of the video? Should it be something funny, or should it be something, I don't know?
It's so the reason why we need to be kind of fighting with the algorithm is because the moment I'm searching for a certain part, then Meta is going to show me the next 15 ads are going to be from 15 different competitors that are fighting for the attention of that person. So that's the reason why we need to to be somebody, to be someone. And I want to make sure that out of those 15 ads that the person is going to see, that they trust mine. So that's why you actually need to just see, okay, what are the others doing? Like, am I fighting with a Nike, or I'm fighting with somebody that's extremely authentic or is very basic and doesn't do much? Like, who am I going against? At the end of the day, that's what it's important. I don't need to win the fight against Nike. I need to win the fight against my competitors. So who they are, what they're doing right now, it's as transparent as it can be. Like, you can just literally go on their Facebook pages. You go to the tab of page transparency and you see all of their ads. I can see what they're running, how long it's been running, what are their copies, what are their ads, everything. So then I'm going to base my marketing campaigns on that. If they're doing A, I'm gonna do B. I'm going to stand out and be somebody. So that's why I would say that, okay, let's first do the competitor research. Who am I going against? Is it an easy fight or it's not? And how can I be somebody there? So if I'm doing what my potential customers want me to be, which is typically answering and tackling the objections that they're having, then I have a really good chance of getting that purchase. Does that mean that I need to be constantly entertaining them with great scroll stoppers, something crashing, booming, whatever? If that's fitting the narrative, sure. But if it's not fitting the narrative, if it makes no sense and I just put it there because some marketer said I need to have a scroll stopper, then no.
Okay, great. We mentioned Nike, Lego as some of the examples, but can you bring some other like real world examples that can be close to our audience, some technical maybe brand that you noticed that had some great campaign that nailed it? So it's a hard question, I know, but and it's maybe not good to mention a lot of brands, but if you have something in mind, if something gets in your head, what can we?
In exactly this industry, I don't have like this is the best practice case to bring. I think that any company, and actually like having a niche and being a very like niche focused product, makes it a bit easier than the big mainstream product that needs to reach like a billion people every year, because that also requires you to really go broad. The more niche you can get, the easier it is to actually target people. I think what I see when I see things that are done in the right way, that's because often, or most of the times, they went out, they spoke to the customers, like really got on the ground and went into the workshops or whatever they might have been, and really worked with them and got to understand their needs and what they find is funny, what they really find it educational, what the true needs are. And then you compare it with like where the competitors are. See, is there a gap, or have our competitors completely nailed it? Often they haven't, and often there's a gap about like where the needs are and where the competition is. And then that's where you can actually put yourself, and then consistently put like small bits and pieces of content out there, test it again, make it work in one context, in a local context. If that works, scale it, try it again, like scale it bigger. And that's really what tends to work. And I think in a world nowadays where things are changing, the algorithms, we don't even know what it is. Like people ask YouTube, what's your algorithm? They just like, we don't know. It's machine learning. It teaches us, it changes every single hour. So we don't know where the target is on the algorithms or anything. So we need to be very close to the customers, and we need to have a marketing and sales mindset that is constantly evolving and learning from our mistakes. All the good cases I've seen, that is people who's done that, and who's not went into the lab for 3 years and then came back with a perfect brand ad and so on. Like we all have seen Jaguar, like really miss the point on a lot of things with them going into the lab, working
Yeah.
3 years with agencies, and the world had moved on
Yeah.
massively, and then they missed the mark. So it's really about thinking in a very different, very agile mindset and trying things out, not believing yourself like you found the solution to everything, but testing it out. And unless it works with the customers, it's never going to work. You're not going to teach your customers. You're not going to change your customers. You need to change until you fit into their needs and their behaviors.
Okay, great.
I can add to this in this market, in this industry, it's really about showing and not saying. And I always give this example to friends that are going into similar industries, that you have two cases. You have cases where, for example, there was this product for building a really good lasting wall for your house. Like there is one example where you just start explaining what types of materials it's inside, like the whole science behind it, and like showing these crazy graphics and like making it look very beautiful for a conference. And then there's the example of a Russian guy with a hammer that just tries to smash the wall and he cannot destroy it. Who will get the more purchases? The guy with the science and like the crazy great materials that look fantastic, or the Russian guy that's just trying to smash the wall, but not that is just not working. It's showing, not saying. Not like if you show how it works in practice, that's how you actually make it work. I mean, man, I would say that we're a little bit more simple in terms of consuming content. We like stuff to be simple. I don't want anything complicated. I want something that's like straight to the point, no BS, that you were showing me how it works. You show me the difference. You show me the difference between those two engines, how one works, how the other works, how one works with my part, how the other works with the competitor's part. You show me all of this, and it doesn't need to be complicated. And that's something that should be on your ads. That's something that should be on your website. That should be everywhere where you are having some kind of a presence. So I love this industry because it's simple, because you don't need to overcomplicate it, and you don't need to be technically the biggest guru in the world to nail it.
And I would also say sometimes you need to unmarketing things, because a lot of I would say average marketeers, they tend to build things on top. They put layers on layers and layers, and they explain such a complex story that no one gets it. Like it's only them and the agency that gets it, and I find that often. And then I don't mind being the idiot in the room and like the stupid guy asking like I don't get this, like I don't. So I really think it's about asking those stupid questions and making that known, and also understanding that simplicity and simple things, that's the hard thing. It's very easy to make very complex marketing campaigns and to do very complex taglines and so on. But to do something that's simple, that cuts through, and that is understandable by a lot of people and brings a cohesive story about many different things, that's the hard part, and that takes the hard work. So sometimes when great marketeers, I think, come and show you a very simple things, people just like, oh, are we paying you this amount for this?
Yeah.
Like simple things? Yeah, but it took a while to get to that simple thing that's going to tell that story and cut through. And I think, for instance, Lego is a great example on a very complex story about like free creativity and child's play and how kids are developing, that is basically just brought to play with like your kids. You have a smile on your kid's face. Like that's what you're buying. That's why you pay $200 for a Lego set, like 50 pieces of plastic. So I think that's this. The simple is the hard thing. Complex is very easy.
When you mentioned that one guy just trying to break the wall, and it showed how the wall is unbreakable, but I had one commercial in my head and I saw it once online, like 15 guys lying next to each other holding hands, and now like they're like, oh, wind, and they're trying to like hold their hands still, not like trying to be thrown away by the wind. And the next scene is like, ah, sun, and they're like burned by the sun, and then like no birds, and they're like fighting with some other like external factors. And then the last like part, it's a commercial for like roof bricks. So they represented like those, how do you say it?
Scenarios.
Yeah,
Scenarios.
So and it's like they're unbreakable, like the roof will stay like forever. So it was so fun. So it's not that creative industry, like it's like housing, like roof material, but they had a really fun commercial. So do you recommend adding some kind of humor?
Humor is always a great, like, again, if you show that you can be funny, that's another way to show that you understand people and you understand their sense of humor. But humor is also, it's a very tricky thing, because it also can give, like, if you don't get it right, you get it very, very wrong. Like I think one of the best ways of you just said, like, guys are simple, like the Budweiser commercial, Super Bowl that came like way back about like what's up, like that, like that just fit like American guy culture so well, and it just like took off, and it was great. But humor is a great way to get like to get people to dive deeper into your product, because they think that you understand their sense of humor. But it also is quite tricky, because it can push a lot of people away. But I think it's definitely something that you try.
And it's something that's showing confidence in the brand has confidence in their products as well. Because if you can laugh about something, then it means that you're confident about it. You're gonna be hiding something if and you're gonna be having a completely different posture if you're nervous about what you're delivering. So people in general don't like the companies or the or in your personal life the people that are always very serious about something. There's always something fishy about people that are way too serious, and that's with brands as well. So that's why if you can just put a little bit of good humor, sure, a little bit of good entertainment, sure. If it's posh,
Yeah, and I think you should never make fun of others.
Yeah,
You should never
yeah.
like be like someone kind of counter something with humor, because that tends to turn people off. But if you get that, get like the WhatsApp, like that's deep insight about like guy culture and like that kind of like a bro
Test
hanging.
it first,
Yes,
before launching it.
exactly. Test it thoroughly. But then again, it's a good way to understand and again like show confidence, as you said.
Yeah, great. So I think marketers have to like chill a bit, as you said, and we sometimes try to overcomplicate campaigns and like messages. I think in technical industries, in IT industry, you go to a website and you read it and you're not really sure. Like they all look the same. The corporate messages like long technical solutions, and maybe it's the point to simplify it. We are good
And you
at
see
what we do.
sometimes you see commercials where you have like kids running through fields, like flying kites, and there's a sun. It's like, and you don't even know what's the product.
What the
Like,
product is,
What,
what the-
like, what's this- what are you selling here?
So maybe you can give some advice on how to, like, storytelling is one big part of the marketing communication, I guess, but also those brand messages that sometimes can be really easy. I don't know, not that complex.
I was sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would say like when I was at the university in film and media studies, I had a really rough teacher where we did productions like ad productions or TV productions. He would always like he would make a lot of people cry, because he would always, even though how beautiful it was, he was like, there are things that could be removed here. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why do you have this backdrop? Why do you have this? Why do you have this cut, this edit? And that was always my own recommendation to myself, and what I always challenge my teams on and my production crews on. It's like, can we remove things? Can we make it simpler? Like, do we need this? Do we need that storyline? Can we, like, instead of this amount of text, can we have this amount of text? How condensed can we make it be and still have the whole message in there? And I think that's, again, simple is very, very hard, and complex is very, very easy.
Less is more.
Less is a lot more.
Way more. Yeah.
You wanted to say something. Do you have it in your mind still?
Not so much, but I would just mention to not overcomplicate it for sure. And what you said is fantastic. Like if you can just go through your scripts or go through your footage and be like, okay, what can we cut and just have the same narrative as well. Like that's it.
But then also, again, we should also remember like why we do storytelling. That is because people, we're Stone Age people. Like we're used to writing on the caves, right? What you saw in the caves, like that's stories. That's about like guys hunting like animals, having kids, and sun is rising. Like those are stories. And the reason why we do stories, because that's how we remember as people. And some Stanford research shows like if you tell a story, like 95% of people, they remember the emotions of the stories, but only 10% remember the facts. So that's why we use storytelling, because if you just give people facts, they forget it. So if you just have a commercial, just like here's the facts, people will just turn off, and they just like will not even remember it, like even if you saw the whole commercial. But if you tell us a story, that's how we remember it. So that's also yes, you can make it simple, but you also need to make it able to communicate and be remembered and felt by the consumer.
Here, what I can add up to this is that because everyone is talking about storytelling, is I think that we're overdoing that, and we're putting storytelling where there's no storytelling. So my really big advice to companies when they want to consult is like really understand who you are and what your actual
What's your
like a
story?
story, like story or value is, if the value of the brand is that we're a family-owned businesses and we've been doing this for centuries, sure, like that's something to hit. If your part is that, hey, we have 15 years of engineering experience and we've gone through all of that, like thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of cars and trucks, then you focus on this, and you hit that narrative. If you're brand new but you're doing something that's unique to the market, focus on that. It doesn't need to fit into the other people's shoes. So if the competitor has a really great story, don't try to like tackle it with a similar story. Well, like you need to actually focus on what you in general are. So don't lie to them. It's really in the trust factor. Like be as authentic as you can be. If you're new, say that you're new. Say that, hey, we're these new guys that are on the market. Hey, if we've been doing that for 100 years, then say that you've been doing that for 100 years.
And I just want to flip that and say that storytelling should be focused also mostly on the consumer about their story, because like personally
Yeah.
I don't like when you look at most companies storyline or like their vision and mission, like we come from this, we want to innovate in our space, we want to like create a better planet.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same. You can take the different brands, it's pretty much the same, but the storyline about like a car part fitting into a consumer's narrative, whether that's a workshop, how their story is about like they need to get a certain amount of cars like turned over in time, or it's a family going on holiday that don't want their car to break down and they want that piece of equipment that lasts longer, and they don't want their kids to like be on a highway in the middle of a construction works like sitting there for hours waiting because the car broke down. Really flip it to the consumer storyline and tell their story and understand their story about how your company fits into their lives. And as a brand,
Yeah.
if you take it on a bigger level, what I've seen from my experience, if a brand is part of personal transformation, like when you get kids, like brands that are part of that transformation, when you grow up, when you go from being a teenager or preteen to teenager, those brands, like for me, it was Levi's, for instance, like those brands that are part of a life-changing transformation, they will stick with you for life. Those brands that are just talking about how they want to improve the planet and so on, we're all good. Like it's great, thumbs up, but it's not. It doesn't feel that important to me. So really understand your customers, whether that's the workshop, the car park dealer, or whatever, or it's the end consumer. Understand their storyline and their story and how you can fit in as a brand. That's for me. It's a very critical part. And for us at the Lego, that's of course making sure that we understand that parents, when they get the kid, Lego is not part of it. Like the first 5 months, 6 months, no,
Duplo.
no, that's Pampers, and that's like that's and then Duplo, that's a Lego brand as well. But like like as a mom, like it's Pampers, it's like those, it's Maybelline, it's like all these like. But then when it's like 6 months, 12 months, then you can start with Duplo, and then you can come in. So understanding those transitions that you have in life and how you can and the transitions another business, if it's B2B, how they are and how you can help them in that and understand their story, that will be the impactful way of communicating.
Lars nailed it.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. Yeah, I think we like marketers, brands, we like to try a lot of things, follow trends, like chase conversions, but we often forget who are we, what our values are, who's the audience, our customers, consumers. So what would it be your recommendation for like teams, marketing teams in companies? Should they sit sometimes and like reevaluate like what they did, what are their core messages? Like when we start like a new campaign on another one, we can easily get lost.
Yeah.
So how to like go to the basics and start from the scratch?
I would
Is
say
it possible?
I look at how great athletes are working. Like they constantly, daily. How was my training this morning? What can I improve to my training this afternoon? Like you need to get into this daily flow. The teams I've had, for instance, at the Olympics, like during the Olympics, we had like every morning big sit down with all the people marketing across like, and we during Olympics we produced and published 20,000 pieces of content within 17 days. So you have a machine set up. Like my social media team was around 110 people. So you have a machine set up. You have all the KPIs. You've run trials. You've done all those things. And every day you had like a sit down where you would run through all content. How did that perform? This is what can we change the next 3 hours? What can we change the next 6 hours? And so on, so on. So of course that's extreme because that's the world's biggest sports event. But again, like we did that in all my other teams pretty much, even at a very like small level, because if you're a small company, you have the ability to move faster than all the big ones. All the big ones are slow. All the big ones have big agencies. They take huge amount of turnaround time to actually really check things. And the world is going much, much faster than most companies can keep up with. So even as a small company, you have the chance to really move into those spaces that are like white space. And that's where you really need to be agile. Yes, you need, of course, to understand where your competition is and where the market is, because you can probably learn a lot of stuff. But always look at like where is the white space, where is the unmet consumer needs and communication needs, where are the platforms there that others people are not working in right now. And like when I was MTV, my audience management team, they would like each day constantly try like titles on YouTube. And we found out it's just placing a dollar sign in one of the titles would make them perform 12% more. So the next day, all of our titles had dollar signs suddenly, and all those small changes on digital that adds up, and that's where you get like the performance. So it's really about that, really understanding like where the white space is. And again, when people go left, you go right. You need to diversify yourself, and you need to figure out what is unique for your brand and where does your brand or your products want to be first movers, and then really own that space and understand your consumers better than others, because that's how we build long-term value. And lastly, I want to say, and we touched upon it previously about Amazon and Temu and all the platforms. I think the short-term sales that you do on Amazon and Temu and so on, you should consider, are you building Amazon or Temu, or are you building your own business?
Yeah.
Because if you're getting a great business, Amazon, they will squeeze you on margins. They are ruthless marketeers and business people. If you're giving them a big business and you don't have anyone anywhere else to go, they will push you on margins, and they will take your margins and make you just part of their big puzzle. So really important about like where you're building your long-term business with short-term sales and where you're just capitalizing short-term.
That's basically the reason why people are going out of Amazon, and they're like the successful brands on Amazon right now are like constantly coming to us and they're telling us, please develop our websites and like our direct to consumer marketing, because we are completely dependent. I don't know if like tomorrow I will have a business because Amazon can just think of something and they'll just stop our store and we're done. We don't have a business anymore. So for marketing teams, especially in this industry, we have something that we've built inside of our agency to make sure that we don't fall into this trap, because it's very easy to fall into this trap. I've fallen, like my colleagues have fallen, like everyone has done that. So what we do is the following. We have 4 pillars of doing anything when we get a client. We have the fundamentals of marketing, who they are, who their audience is, what's the competitors, what are the objections that each of the audience is having, what is the type of communication that is fitting the narrative of our audience. Then we have planning. Okay, what's going to be the content like how is it going to look like? Then we have the execution part. Okay, how do we launch this and where do we launch this? And then we have the analyzing and scaling part, which is, okay, what did work, what didn't work, what can I scale as much as I can so I can take those free spots in the market. And then we do that again and again and again. What's changed? So what has changed in what I know about the objections of my audience, which objections worked and which objection handling didn't work. So is it really up to pricing? Is it really up to comparing to the others? Is it really up to deliveries? What's really the key to my audience? Or the key is to mention all of these things together, because sometimes it's all about just, making sure that you're there. So for marketing teams, it can be as simple as this. Get your fundamentals, the audience, their objections, who you are on the market, what is your competition, what is your tone, that a voice of your content that's fitting the narrative of your consumers. Then good planning, where you're going to launch this and how you're going to launch this, execution on actually launching this, scaling and analyzing the results of what you did, and going again and again through this rat race of marketing.
It's good to repeat it once in a while, just to not.
It's actually not once in a while. We do that every single month. Like every single month that should be done. And if we don't do it, then we don't have a mirror. If you don't have a mirror and you don't look at yourself, at who you've become and what you're doing on the market, then you're blind.
Yeah. And yeah, we all look ourselves in the mirror every morning. So we should do it very, very, very often.
I wanted to ask just from nowhere, but if you had a chance, like to start from a scratch, like you're a marketing team in a technical industry, like what would be your first step? Okay, that is a good like path we can follow, but which channels, like what would be your strategy to now go into one technical marketing industry? Like, is there a good way to start, or you need to like diverse on many, like as many platforms as you can?
The first thing I would do is spend the first week or two with my customers or consumers, just watching, asking questions, listening. That would be the first, because that would teach you the rest.
Yeah, so we go back to like who is our customer, like that's
Yeah.
the main thing.
And no need to like buy reports or like get McKinsey on it, and like no, go there, be with them. Like I love, again, like at Lego, like one of the part of the onboarding, like the recruitment, basically like in the interview you had to build with Lego bricks, so we could see how people were building with Legos. But part of the recruitment were that you had to be a whole day with consumer service, on a call with consumer service, where you had to listen in to consumer service calls for a whole day, because then you suddenly realized, okay, so this is actually, wow, this is how the other side of the products are going to look like. So really spend as much time as with the customers as possible, because then you'll know, like whether it's TikTok or whatever, like LinkedIn or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You will learn that from being with your customers.
Yeah, great. We go back to the needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, issues our audience have, our customer have. So we when we think about storytelling, as you said, we mostly talk about us, but
Yeah.
maybe we are not the main.
Yes, and I think
Yeah.
that's also sometimes the challenge with marketeers, when they think that they're developing marketing campaigns for themselves, they become artists. And that's where, like, no, we're not paying you to be artists. We're paying you to do something to reach someone else, not about you expressing yourself, but reaching them and being part of their storyline.
Yeah, great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an opinion on this?
I mean, I like this approach. I would say that sometimes when it's impossible to be part of your audience immediately, then that's why digital kicks in. That's why we have forums. That's why we have reviews on their brands. You can just literally go on Amazon or whatever other platform and just see what people are saying about your competitors' products or what you want to be selling. And yeah, really read through all of their stories and what they like and what they don't like, especially what they don't like. And then you have a niche. Then you basically have a niche. So it's much simpler nowadays.
You talked previously about how big systems are slow to make any like changes and to maybe decide some other formats or paths. But I was really interested because you led a really big digital transformation in Lego. You introduced new formats like Lego TV in 40 countries. So how was that process? I think that our audience would like to hear more about it, just from maybe that's not something that is really connected to what they do, but it can give them some other perspective. Like maybe it was a hard path. I don't know. It's a big system and it's a really big change. So I think it will be interesting for them to hear about it, if you would like to share.
Absolutely, we'll be happy to share. Basically, so I was brought in just myself to start this transformation. Of course, what you do then is you ensure that you have like executive backing, make sure that they have the buy-in to actually really let you do what they asked you to do. So I got that, and then I basically introduced that I wanted to have budgets allocated in a different way, because yearly budget cycles are killing like a lot of things. Because if you're changing budgets and in a big corporation, adding a lot of money, you start having this political battle that's going to slow down everything. And finance is going to say, like, what's the ROI? Is it better than investing in selling more Lego fire stations? And like nothing is better than selling more Lego fire stations, because that's the most like highest profitable product they have. And all kids need a fire station Lego, of course, and it doesn't cost a lot to produce. So you get into this like really corporate eternal loop of alignment where it's so difficult to move stakeholders because the past was great, and how can you promise them that the future is going to be more successful, which you can't. And also a lot of companies are asking for, they want to see something brand new, never seen before, and then they still ask you for what's the business case and can you prove that it's been done before in other companies. And that's when you're an industry leader, that's when it starts to getting like very, very difficult to continue to push yourself as a company. So I asked for basically having, like, long story short, like more like a startup way of allocating budget with monthly or quarterly cycles where budget would be allocated as a consistent like stream of budget allocation based on different KPIs. And that changed that we could basically ramp up and work as a startup inside a big company. And that was the way that actually that we made it work quite well. And then also put a lot of specific like financial benchmarks and KPIs on us. So not just direct sales, but also what is the brand valuation is going to increase? What is the risk mitigation? How much will we protect the company from not being able to meet our competition in the digital space? What's the risk that we're taking on if we don't do this? So having these different, and like again, also measurement on marketing efficiency, how we increased our marketing efficiency. So having different financial metrics that I could measure constantly on to prove that we were building value, long-term value within the company, that really accelerated that a lot. And then I stepped on a lot of toes, but that's also like I was there 8 years, and at some point I had to leave because like a lot of toes were being stepped on. So that was a
big thing. Yeah.
but we made some drastic changes, and I think that's also, if you are a change agent and you take on that role, like yes, you will probably have a different personality that you can be in a company forever, unless you're Elon Musk, and I'm not Elon Musk, and it's not my company. But you will need to push people, and that you will also need energy to find a new company where you can take them to the next level and so on, and continue that as part of your career. So I think that's the role and responsibility and downside and upside of being like an entrepreneur in a company.
Yeah, I really wanted to hear that because and it's not a really typical format like where you can measure like how much you sold Legos after it. It's building a brand, and it was a really
Yeah, but what
big
we
decision.
basically also did was basically we had a big data lake of 11,000 data points we collected together with our big data team, and then we could actually prove that the highest, like we can't in the kids space, you're not allowed to track kids in marketing, of course.
The parents.
But then you need to track the kids' interests and the parents' credit card, and that's a bit tricky, and that's a GDPR thing, and also marketing to children, a lot of regulations about that. So basically we could show the correlation and not the direct causality. So we could show that the correlation between kids sharing, or not kids, but someone on YouTube, not kids, not allowed on YouTube, but someone sharing on YouTube a video of a specific product or piece of content that we've made. If they shared it, that was the strongest correlation of all the channels like TV ads and so on to increase direct sales. So we could show a link between that simple YouTube metric and sales. And that meant that we can actually, okay, then we can take the big bucket of money and move into really impacting YouTube, which everyone knows that's a highly influential channel for kids. It's the most influential channel for kids and toy sales. So I think, yes, it was brand building, but it was very, very number focused and correlated, not causality related, but correlated to direct sales and the profit.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks. Kids are on YouTube, but also like parents are there, and then still
family viewing.
But like we now have TikTok that grown so much in the previous years, and I guess people do now search. I'm avoiding TikTok. I don't know why. I'm trying that. It's too addicting, you know. But now it's not only like fun and dancing. You can find some really useful.
Whatever
Like-
you need, basically.
And also technical, like influencer, like building something, or previously it was only on YouTube to find that kind of like content. Now we can find it even on TikTok. Is there some other like platform you can I don't know?
I think TikTok has nailed the shopping experience. I know shopping has only been launched in I think US, UK, and Spain. I think it is
It's
so
in
far.
Germany now
It's
as well.
Germany as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're expanding in Europe a lot.
Yeah, they're really trying to get it out. Like we were very early on with Nokia on TikTok Shop. Tremendous like amount of sales because it's like that push sales. It's like very fitted different product categories very well. So I think they nailed it, and I'm still puzzled why YouTube hasn't been better in developing the shopping solution, because they should be able to have one-click shopping with the whole Google like ecosystem, but it still
Yeah, it
hasn't.
never-
No, and it's like it's still.
It's probably against their identity, I think.
Yeah.
Then they because they're always very slow with trends and changes, as you can see. But yeah, their platforms survive like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, they're pretty the same. All
Yeah,
this
they
year,
pretty
okay, they
same,
have
yeah.
shorts and some new.
But perhaps they grow old as well.
Yeah.
They stalled as well. Who knows?
Will they be, you know? But Nokia, you mentioned Nokia. Like,
Yeah.
is it like the old Nokia?
Yeah, like the Nokia phones, like dumb
With-
phones. So basically, by tapping into Gen Zs and the whole need of being not online, we were able to build a story around like these phones do not have TikTok, they do not have Instagram, and basically for the first time, like we sold like we increased double digits sales of dumb phones in the last couple of years.
Yeah, maybe that's how YouTube still survives being old, you know.
I think they're still doing pretty well. I think it's still making
Yeah.
quite decent amount of money.
That's a good identity. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just funny when you see like a young competitor like TikTok coming up, and they do have this frictionless
Yeah.
like sales that's really working tremendously well for some products.
Okay, great. I would like to hear more from your business experience. What was like the biggest step you had in the marketing and e-commerce world from your experience? Is it the agency work? Just to have more intro of who you are. I did a short intro on the beginning, but I think we can like have also a small break from all the
technical.
advices we gave. It's a long format, so we can like chill a bit and talk more personal. Tell us more about your work, your experience.
I do have the agency, and it's still working. It's still growing, and it's a great one. And we are working with international e-commerce stores or e-com brands that are selling everywhere. And you mentioned FC Barcelona, and since I'm Bulgarian, we work with Christos Stoichkov, who is like one of
Oh,
the
nice.
biggest legends, and his brand, and like it's a very cool one, and we learn a lot. And that's the great part about having an agency and working with businesses from all around the world, is that you're basically capturing all of that different knowledge and those use cases all the time, like at the same time. So it's not like working on one project for 3 years or 5 years and then moving to the next one. It's like, okay, I have 30 use cases every single week. So that's a cool one. But I think that the biggest change in my life and career was when I decided that, okay, I need to go into the trenches like my clients and start my own e-com brands. And in 2020, with one of my business partners, we started something that was very funny for us, completely different from what we were doing in general. And we started a lightsaber company. So
I didn't know that.
We needed that. We needed that company. I agree. Like,
and
I want to buy one.
we had a budget of like $2,500, something like that. And initially, it didn't work well. However, because we were the best marketeers in the industry and we really started understanding the needs of the consumer of the lightsaber industry, we crafted our messaging, we crafted our offering in a way that people started immediately buying from us. So that brand in 6 months did $1 million in sales just in the US and UK, and solely by just pushing Facebook ads. So it was great in terms of like experience back then, but actually after we actually needed to build a whole business around this success, the interesting things started to pop up. How do you develop this? How do you actually build the brand on top of the success? What do you mess up? And we messed up lots of things based on our inexperience of like managing a business, not just managing marketing campaigns. So all the time we were the absolute leader in terms of marketing. Every competitor was like copying us, even though they were on the market for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. We were the leading source of like what marketing should be done in order for the consumer to get the product. But we didn't understand the business point behind it. So I would say that for us, that was like a really big turning point. And 5 years later, it's still one of the things that is pushing us a lot, and it's helping my work in the agency as well, because I understand now the business on the other side. So we were completely selling an emotion, but we were selling it in a practical way. Because if you're selling a lightsaber, which is, yeah, if you watch Star Wars, it's really cool.
It's really cool. But there's not a big functional need.
Yes, but we did the functional segment of it. And what it is, I am not going to have fun if I have one lightsaber, because I can't do anything with it. Obviously, I can just put it on the wall, and like if somebody comes in, they were gonna see that I have a lightsaber, and that's it. Okay, I have the identity. But the cool thing about lightsabers is actually fighting with those lightsabers. So
Do they
that's
have
why
a sound?
yeah, it's actually pretty advanced. It's pretty advanced. I mean, I can't cut your arm, but it's
Okay.
pretty advanced. And it's fun when you play with others with those lightsabers. So we crafted a 2-piece offer where you get 2 lightsabers for a price that nobody else is gonna ever give you. And suddenly, like all of a sudden, our conversion rate it skyrocketed because of this. And that's why we were able to actually push it to 7 figures in 6 months. Because everyone was selling get a lightsaber, while we were selling play with your kids,
That's nice.
fight with your friends, duel with them, see who's the better Jedi, or be the Sith Lord you always wanted to be, and stuff like that. And from people that were 18 until people that were like 65 and originally watched Star Wars back in the days, they all loved it. And it's a fantastic Christmas product. It's a fantastic birthday gift, etc. So we sold that and we made it practical. Hey, you get 2. You always get 2 of those lightsabers. You can't get 1, because we want you to have the experience of fighting with others. I don't want to have a memory piece behind me.
That's like, I really like that, because that's the difference between selling a functional product to selling an experience.
Yeah.
And I like GoPro, for instance. They just, like you say, GoPro, like they've had some issues last couple of years, but when they really like broke through with the hero campaign, where their tagline was "Be the hero." Again, they're not selling a camera. You can record people. No, it's like you can be the center of. You can be the hero in your own life. And they were, of course, like building all this great, amazing content. Like most of us will probably not go skydiving with a GoPro, but like it really like selling that experience about being the hero, being like Luke Skywalker, and so on. I really like that.
This was such a good story. I'm so happy that I asked something like this, because it's also like an unusual advice. Like you tested on your own something, and you had a really good return.
And I really like that, like what you're saying about like being in the trenches, because I think with the pace of change we're seeing across everything right now, it is so difficult to give advice to people unless you are constantly working in the trenches. And that's also why I advise a lot of people to, and I've done that with my own teams, take a lot of things in-house. Like, it's great if you have a good agency and so on, but if they're only consulting and you're not really understanding, if you want to like differentiate yourself on understanding your consumers and communicating with your consumers, whether that's B2B or B2C, then you need to be in the trenches. You need to understand that. You need to listen to them. If you outsource your social media listening, if you outsource your social media conversations, you're outsourcing basically your entire communication with your consumers and customers, and you're outsourcing your ability to learn from them. And I think that's a very dangerous way for a company, unless it's a company only focusing on specific product functionalities.
Did you, Lars? You want to say something?
I'm just gonna say that in my agency experience for the past 8 years, the biggest success is always coming when the business and our agency are working as a complete partnership, and not, hey, you do your part, we do our part, and we just want the ROI at the end of the month. And if there's a good product market fit, it might be working, but your guy, like either the management or your marketing department, if you have one, Like they need to be in the trenches with the agency. They need to be figuring out stuff together if you really want to maximize your results. It's not something that you outsource and you're like, okay, do your stuff, do your magic. Like that doesn't work. You have to be invested in what you're gonna, because marketing is really like what you're gonna do for to get more customers, to get more sales, and you can't just outsource it to somebody.
Yeah, and I just to want to add a layer to that. What I've seen in the last 10 years is the marketing function has, in some companies, disappeared, and other companies, it's been merged to a CXO, Chief Experience Officer, or basically, and in my own experience, I've had taken over like product design, and a lot of the product like value proposition has been sitting within my team, because if marketing is only, and marketing sales only use downstream, so basically, here's a product, bring it to market, do some marketing storytelling, and sell it, then you really risk just having the engineers controlling the product and sales, and you never have the experience of getting that loop of what the customer needs actually are into the product, the product specification and product design. So I think that's really where that was also the case at Lego, where the CMO is basically controlling the product design. Sorry, can I have a glass of water?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry, running empty here. But really,
It's a long discussion.
it's a long discussion.
And I had so many questions, but
Basically, I think the marketing function should be brought in a lot more if it's the right marketing function, and if they're in close communication and understanding of the consumer and the needs, that should feed into the product design and product development, because that would be building in the storytelling and building in the marketing needs from the get-go.
yeah, I will leave you for a second
Thank you.
until the water comes. But yeah, I want to ask about your experience also. But yeah, great. Here's the water.
Thank you.
Lars, there you go.
Yeah, but now from your experience you have, and it's really impressive in marketing so long. But if there's one advice you could give for your younger self before entering the marketing industry and marketing world, what would it be?
I just stay curious and love understanding people, and that's for every marketing department out there. Like, really love understanding people, and in your case, understand your consumers, your customers, whether they're B2B or B2C, doesn't really matter. Like, if it's a B2B, understand their actual needs of like reselling and making profits, and how you are like making sure that that's happening. If it's your end consumer, then yeah, make sure that they feel it, and you don't want to have a grumpy marketing department. You don't want to have people that are saying, "Oh, I know my stuff. I don't want to work anymore in this." Like 25 years ago, we were doing this way, so it should be working today. So just really stay curious as much as you can, and like put yourselves in the shoes of the people that you want to sell to.
You mentioned the big difference between B2B and B2C, but what should marketing change when we're speaking? Like, is there a different approach in marketing when we talk to consumers and customers, or we are selling to other businesses?
I actually love this, and because we tend to also use right now typically B2C places like Facebook ads or Google ads, for especially Facebook ads is a very B2C, typically direct to consumer marketing, but we do have cases and lots of good new cases where we're actually selling to businesses through those ads. And there is a different mindset in the way that you're building the whole structure. It's really more into the what's the interest of the person rather than what's the emotion of owning it. So it's really, when you're doing B2B, you have to show the interest of the person that is going to be buying from you, and what's going to be, again, the end result of them. So I see that companies or agencies that are good with B2C are really bad with B2B, and vice versa. So it's a mind shift. But at the end of the day, even when you're selling to businesses, you're again selling to people. And
Yeah.
regardless whether that's going to be the CEO, the CMO, or the chief buyer, or whoever that person is, it's a person. It's not an AI machine. so far.
So it's totally divided, like B2C, it's like
It's a human to human thing.
or something, and B2B is like more.
It's just different drivers. Like the end consumer of the products is going to have one type of emotion that's being sparked by one thing. For the buyer, it's another thing.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like you're still selling to people, and I'm not saying it is definitely two different worlds, but it's still similar. I have some stats here that are quite interesting. Just tying it back to trust and what we were talking about initially. So according to Gartner, 77% of B2B buyers say purchases are very complex and risky, and then they also say that 70% of B2B buyers trust peer voices more than vendors. So again, tying it back to like who do we actually impact, who do we actually really trust? Again, back to what we started this discussion about trust. It's really about impacting the peer voices and having that trust being built, and that can be emotional trust or rational trust being built, and then it's going to actually like turn into hopefully sales either B2C or B2B.
Yeah, so we are back on trust.
Back on trust.
It was a journey, but yeah, I think it was interesting. But do you think, like, is there more pressure or fear of making a mistake when buying for a business? Like, are there more
Yeah.
like
What's your experience on this?
You often say B2C risks money, B2B risks careers. And again, that's also why B2B is again, it's sometimes quite conservative. Again, you have the old saying that no one has been fired by recommending and buying Microsoft, but like taking a new step and buying new technology and new technology companies has like that's where you risk your careers. So it's different mechanisms that you're working with, and again, in a B2C world, you risk typically your own money. In B2B, you risk your career and you risk a big company's money. So that's a lot of different mechanisms that are in play there.
So how would you approach then in your campaigns into B2B? Like, do they need to be more than informative to this, I don't know, to persuade that company that you're the right choice, so you then don't play on emotions that much? You
Yeah,
go purely on logic. Is that
No,
the
I
way?
think again when people consider things are risky and complex, again a B2B purchase, of course you have your procurement department, you have your legal team, you have everyone looking into if this is the right department to or partner to work with. So they will like guarantee you a lot. So you are some way less at risk, but of course it's often a lot more money that you actually are putting on the table there. So it's still about those, as I said, like from the numbers from Gartner, it's still about the peer recommendations. They're really, really important here. If one of your friends in the industry had a bad or good experience with a vendor, you are very like likely to trust that person on that vendor. And that's also where, of course, the lead times are different in B2B. Like it's not 19 minutes on TikTok. Like, do I want this like infrastructure project like being built by this? No, it takes a lot more. And that's also why it's more like again, getting the whole package right about all the rational, all the functional content out there, all the expertise out there, showing that you're a credible partner, not showing any gaps that in your communication that might inflict the trust that you're building. So I think trust is actually way more important in that sense, and building long-term trust in the B2B space. And that's again like where we said like you need the whole content package. It doesn't need to be like a Hollywood movie, but it needs to be at the right points. You need to have that chief engineer explaining in the right channels what the whole story is about. You need to have that right white paper on LinkedIn. You need to have that round table set up. You need to have those spokesperson out in the right media channel on television or whatever media that the decision maker might be looking into. So that's where you need to be more strategic and more organized and orchestrated around those decision makers.
Great, yeah. What would be your like go-to marketing package for like B2B businesses? What would you recommend? Do you have some B2B clients in your agency, and from your experience?
We do have, we mainly focus on their acquisition parts and acquiring new customers. And I would say that for me, the difference between a typical B2C and a typical B2B is that in terms of marketing, it's almost like a teenage relationship that is like very quick. You don't care if it doesn't work. You don't care about that much of the personality behind the person that you're going out with.
You could be heartbroken back then.
I mean, of course. I mean, and I can be heartbroken by something that I've bought on Amazon, but I mean, I'm gonna be over it like in a week or so. Well, in B2B, it's more like, okay, I'm choosing my partner. Like I'm choosing my, and I want to make sure that they're the layers, that there's more, it's more complex, that we fit on many different categories, and that's why it takes more time to make a decision in this, and that's why it's much more rational, but again, driven by emotional factors.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, go to the basics. Who am I? What I'm offering? What my consumers actually want? And build the marketing materials based on that, and don't build them based on, oh, there's this trend of doing this. Oh, there's this trend of doing that. And when you're doing B2B, make sure that you have more layers in terms of where you're at. I want to make sure that when they Google me, I pop up. I want to make sure that when they want to see reviews, and that they easily find reviews about what I'm doing. When 7 out of 10 people have the same question, I have the answer to that question and it's available to them. So if that's there, you've basically done most of the marketing. Then it's just really up to showing that you're there, you're available, and that you are a real company that wants to do sustainable business with them. That's it.
So to sum up, B2B versus B2C is basically young love versus arranged marriage.
You can put it this way.
Okay. I'll use that on Twitter.
I'll write it down. Yeah, so from the beginning, our topic was to like realize and explore why do people buy.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, when does the sale really begin? Like sometimes, okay, people have a need, but is on the marketer sometimes to make a need. I don't know, to explain to people in a way that they need something, they want something. So do people decide before they buy, or after the brand inform them about something? So what's your opinion on that? Like, should brands communicate like even before they want to sell something initially, just to put like an intro explanation about what they, so that's again my point, like is every ad or post we have directly sales oriented?
You can
or-
lose a lot of money on this topic, I think. And lots of brands are losing lots of money on this topic. And when I look into this, I think of there's this pyramid of the buyer's pyramid, where on top of the pyramid, there's this 1 to 3% of your target audience are right now actively searching for a solution for a product. So they have one mindset. Then the next 7 to 10% are people that are okay if buying, maybe are interested in this. If you give them a good offer or good explanation, and good reasoning behind it, then they'll purchase from you. Then there's this much bigger pillar of, let's say, 15 to 20% that they kind of like, okay, that's interesting, but it's not for right now. Then you have another 15 to 20% that is like, that's not for me, but maybe someday in the future, I might be looking for something like this. So maybe when I'm thinking of Lego, that's not for me right now, but maybe in a few years when I become a parent, that's going to be something that I might be interested in. And then there's like the rest of the people who never buy from you, whatever you do in your life. Like, it doesn't matter. So it's really, for me, it's up to which part of the pyramid you're going after. Are you going only after the people that are right now actively looking for a solution and they need to find the best one and you want to tap immediately to them? Are you working with the 7 to 10% that are open to buying, but they really need a good reason behind it? Or you're going after, let's say, the 40 to 50% of the whole market that might be interested, and you're okay with them buying in 3 years and not buying right now. So that's really up to what your communication is going to be like. And here's the thing, brands that don't have the resources, some smart marketer, and like put it really smart marketer, is telling them that they need to do the long game of storytelling. But I don't have the resources. I have the resources to sell right now, and I need to get sales.
And
If
be
that's the
brief.
case, I'm going on only after the top 10% of my audience. However, if I want to build a sustainable business that's going to work for me in the next 5 and 10 years, I am forced to work on the next pillars of the pyramid. And if I don't do that, I'm dead. So that's the game, and how I typically like to separate it. What are my resources? How quickly I need to get results? And do I play the short term or I play the long term game? 'Cause sometimes, or no, sometimes in every business there is a period of time where you need those resources and you need that cash flow, and you don't want to play the okay, I'm gonna get my money back in 24 months.
No, or as Lego, they really, it's about generational sale.
Yeah.
It's not just this lifetime. It's about your kids growing up, your future kids, your grandkids growing up. It's about those sales in 30 years. So that's, but of course you can't build a business starting there. Well, I get my sales and like, hello, Mr. Bank, can you give me a loan? You get your money back in 50 years. But that's of course where the legacy companies and like the legendary companies, they come in. Coca-Cola with the Christmas campaigns, that is just where they're building for the next 10, 15 years. And at the same time, they're agile enough to actually really focus on the short-term sales in different regions and move things around. So I think, again, and one of the examples I have on, like, I think a lot of products are, you can, of course, create like demand creation and really like make people crave a product. But you can't really, you need to have a product that really fits a need that's satisfied, so they will recommend, they will buy again. Like the craziness about Labubu right now.
Yeah.
Like this, if
Insane.
you're not aware of it, but like if you have kids, you know Labubu, because your kids just want that stupid, like fluffy toy. It's like, okay,
Still keeping them like eyes shut, you know.
But, like,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
and
mentioning that. Yeah, they don't know it's real, but they're
they
still.
just passed like $1 million sales, like recently. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I heard it from on Equity podcast. But that's like, and I reckon their margins are insane. Like that's demand creation at the peak. Like it's really like on speed, demand creation that just is, it's making kids and adults crave it, buy it very expensively. But I doubt they will be around in 24, 36 months.
Yeah.
I hope.
Hope not. So,
But I wanted to ask, like, if we want to reach those people in the top of the pyramid, what is the best way? Like, is it search, like Google campaign, like content through Meta, or like something else?
I mean, I love Meta for this a lot. However, for a more technically appropriate industry, I would say that Google is great because you have keyword searching, and keyword searching is big. And if your website is well optimized for this, and you have good Google campaigns for certain products that you know that people are searching for, and it's very specific, then the purchase is almost instant because of this. So you're really tapping into that. In that audience that's like completely ready to buy. However, there's one problem with this. Everyone wants that audience. Everyone wants to get the people that are ready to buy because they make a decision quickly. And that's where most of the money on advertising is being spent anyways. So I believe that as a marketing department, you really need to think about both paths at the same time. How do we make sure that we get as much sales as possible from the people that are ready to buy? And how do we actually build the trust for the people that are still not in the active phase of buying, so that in 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, they buy from you? And if you can do that through your marketing campaigns and through your overall messaging, then you're building something. And then you're not going to be so dependent on, am I having a good sale or not? And stuff like that. So yeah, it's still Meta and Google. Yeah, TikTok Shop, especially for Western Europe right now, it's gonna go crazy. It's gonna be the probably number one driving factor for cheap conversions. But yeah, but keep your fundamentals in place.
Okay, great.
I would, my hot tip to people out there, hot tip coming, would be focusing a lot on making all of your really deep rational content available for LLMs, so large language models, and really like all the
Yeah.
chat AIs, and ChatGPT and Perplexity and all of those. I think that's a place where a lot of companies have not yet really focused a lot, and as a uh, contender in that space, I would definitely put a lot of effort into make that content as available as possible for those platforms.
Did you see that they made the integration with Shopify and Amazon, so you can very soon. It's still in beta, but you basically type in I want this car, like what's the best car part for whatever on ChatGPT, and you can immediately purchase with one click from a Shopify or Amazon store, and you get it. So basically, you could Google basically this way, and you cut the whole journey of you, and you just have it in one place, which is your ChatGPT. And since lots of people are very ChatGPT dependent, and that's their trust factor, because we talked about trust, some people are so religiously buying into if ChatGPT says it, then it's correct. Then they shut their brains, they don't analyze, they don't do anything. And that's why what Lars mentioned is extremely important. If you can make sure that those models are working with your content or working with your brand, and you pop in their results, then surely that's going to be quite helpful. So maybe go to the wait list of I'm already in it for Shopify, and see if you can get into this new wave of shopping through ChatGPT.
Yeah, or like make sure that your content is really and constantly, because it will change day by day. You'll develop, and that would be the marketing muscle that I would basically develop the most at the moment right now. And we're actually tying it back to trust again, because again, you jump into trust, suddenly you trust ChatGPT, and if ChatGPT says so, and you ask ChatGPT, well, criticize yourself, are you sure? And it's, yes, I'm sure. Okay, then you jump into trust again, because you've had a lot of good experience with ChatGPT, and you trust it more and more and more. Whether that's a good idea, bad idea, I don't know.
Never trust ChatGPT fully. I don't know. It seems like he always answer what I want to hear. If I ask him, like, "Are you sure? Do you think like this?" And yeah, good point. Maybe you are right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a him. I don't know.
Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. But okay, just shortly, like we have that top of the pyramid people that are ready to buy, they want to buy, but also we have those people that are like hesitating, and they're like a friction, they're not sure. So is it about like, do they have too many options, too much complexity, fear, making
Sorry for interrupting. The top people are also hesitating. That doesn't, just because they're actively looking to buy, doesn't mean that they're hesitant of buying from you.
Okay.
So that's why you need those quick trust factors to establish trust immediately with them.
What are the methods, to reduce that friction? I think that's important also to say.
Because it's different between those people that are on the top and right now searching for a solution compared to the ones that are going to buy in 6 months. Because for the ones that are on the top, okay, what if I make a mistake? Can I get my money back? That's a very big one for the people that are buying immediately. Can I get my money back? Am I getting the product quickly? Do I have good reviews of that? Does it seem trustworthy? Is it fishy? For them? So that's the
like, for instance, either payment methods, either is only Venmo and PayPal, or do they have MasterCard, Visa, and so on and so on?
Yeah, can I do
like,
Apple Pay and like all
if
the
it's
other.
only Alipay, then it's just like Western customers be like, I don't really.
Can I do Klarna for some and others? Well, for the people that are gonna buy in 6 months, it's really up to your consistency of showing who you are and that you are the same person, that there is no double standards in your marketing. That's one day I'm one, the other day I'm another person, the third day I'm a third, and so on. So they want to have this consistency. And because they already trust you because they've been seeing you for the past 6 months, then it's not that much into can I get my money back or stuff like that. So it's a completely different way of purchasing. If I've loved the Christmas product in September, or I loved the Christmas present back in April, I have all this time to really think about it and to see that that's a great product. But when the time comes, I just buy it. While if I'm actively right now searching for it, I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that that's the right decision, because people hate being wrong. People hate like messing up a purchase, because the whole idea of purchasing is to just get some to get some relief, just to get some good emotion, because I bought this dress, or I bought this car part. I'm gonna have a much better Mercedes or a BMW because of this.
Mm.
Yeah, great. We're almost out of time. 2 hours has been faster than I thought, but to complete our talk about trust and marketing and trends, like Lars, what advice would you give to a mid-sized auto parts business trying to stand out in a very crowded market? Is there any specific advice from everything that we talked today?
Again, like besides the hot tip about really focusing on AI, making all of your content and your competencies available for ChatGPT and Perplexity and the others, I would say again, like go spend time with your customers and really understand the needs. And then when it comes to building trust, consider it like again, like we're simple people. Like humans are very simple. Like it's not that long ago, like considering the age of the planet, that we started walking on two legs, and we're still very simple. So trust building with businesses, trust building with online businesses is like dating. It's like if you show up not dressed properly, like 10 minutes late, you're not gonna get the second date. Like if you're not like communicating the right way, showing like appreciation, texting back like quick enough, you will not get a second date. And you want to have that like long-term marriage with your customers, right? So that really requires trust building. And sometimes you need to send flowers, like even now you need to show. So you need to have like that kind of like working with your customers as if they were someone you really want to build long-term trust with. And that requires attention to all the details, all the actions. But if you do that, then they're also going to stay there for like probably a stormy day. So that's what I want to say. Like, don't just focus on the next like short-term sales. Really focus on long term if you want to be in business for a long time, because those businesses that show that they are also like they are the most like profitable businesses and also showing like the biggest amount of value gains in a number of like a decade or two.
Yeah, and talk to your like customers after they buy also. Like
Exactly.
ask them how are they? Do you
Yes.
need something more?
How are you?
Like,
How was that for you?
yeah,
Sure.
so yeah, it's a long-term relationship, as you said. It's
Yeah.
not like one day,
Don't,
one
don't ghost,
night.
don't ghost
No.
them. No. And then show up a month later and try to sell them another product. No, don't do that.
If someone listening wanted to make just one change in their marketing this year, what would be like a simple but impactful thing to do, like from your e-commerce perspective?
And the one thing that's always changing the ads for, or changing the results of the ads for my customers, is call 100 of your already purchased customers, ask them 10 relevant questions to why they bought and what they didn't like about what you had, or what they loved compared to the competitors, and place that in the ads. Just make the next ads based on the opinion of those 100 people. And when you understand that and you put it out there in the space, I mean, it's gonna do miracles. Literally, it's gonna do miracles for you.
Great. Is there something more you would like to say to conclude this fabulous discussion? I really did enjoy.
Likewise.
Yeah, we had a 2-hour discussion about our customers, about why do people buy and purchase our products. And we really hope that today's conversation challenged a few assumptions, that maybe even gave you new perspectives on how people feel and why do they act and buy our products. So thanks again for being here with us. Don't go yet, because we will continue our program in 15 minutes after the break. Our Mia Parovic, pardon, regional director, will continue with a surprise guest, and they will present a digital challenge for you. So stay here and see you again in 15 minutes. Again, thank you for being here with me. It was a pleasure and I was honored. Really, your experience is something that is so inspiring for all of us. And see you next year in our podcast format of our marketing meetup.
Hello, dear partners, and welcome back after the coffee break. Mina already mentioned that I will join you today as well, but I just wanted to make again a short introduction of myself because I believe that some of you are here with us for the first time. So just briefly, my name is Mia Parovic-Milicevic, and I'm Regional Marketing Director for Southeast Europe for Bilstein Group. I hope that you enjoyed, at least for the first part of the podcast we have prepared for you today together with Lars and Victor. I hope that you enjoyed and that you get a lot of new insights because I believe that both of them give us a lot to think, I would say. The reason why I'm here with you today and actually why I would like to speak with you directly is because you are aware that it's our 9th marketing meetup. I'm glad to say that some of you, together with me, are here. This is my 7th session of the marketing meetup together with you, and I'm really proud of it. But as you can assume, for the 10th one, for the 10th edition, because for us this is really a huge milestone, we would like to do something new, something fun, something a little bit competitive. So for that occasion, we prepared a digital challenge for you. The digital challenge will run from January to June next year, so January-June 2026. I will share briefly how the challenge would look like, but the most important thing is that you will receive the content from our side. The content you will have the post for Instagram and Facebook, and the idea is actually to have the best possible results according to engagement and reach. But that's not all. We also have prepared some bonus points. So for the ones who would like to be more creative or to share this content on your web shops, on the homepage of the web shops, you will get additional points for that. I will now share the screen because I would like to share with you how this counting the points will look like. So briefly, this will be shared. Just give me a second to share the screen and to show you what we have prepared. So I hope that you can see the screens and that everything is working. I will start just a second. Mouse issues. Okay. So if we start with the engagement, which is right here, and if we go for, let's say, 500, but I have troubles with this. Okay, it's here. Let's say 500. If the reach will be, let's say, 3,000, if you have the number of pages, so the people who are actually following you on your account, if this number is, let's say, 2,000 people who are the followers, what is here really important to mention? We also add here the moment of your country. What does it mean? So we would like to take into consideration also how these channels are important and are valuable in the markets on which you're dealing with the marketing activities. So if we are, for example, in Greece now, let's say it's probably much nicer weather than right here. Just a second to remove this one so I can use this. Okay, the tab. If you do like this, and this is your reach, per the post. This is your engagement which you receive. If you will not do the web shop promotion or be creative with some video content or something which is additional, now when I will submit your results, your total score will be 236. If we will go further and say with the same figures, I will do the same what I did. Just wanted to show you actually if you will be creative or if you will go with this additional bonus points that we would like to share, how much points more you can gain. We choose Greece, sunny country. We said, okay, yes, yeah, let's go for the web promotion and let's go as well for the be creative with some video. submit form, you will get 315. So almost 100 points more you will receive if you will be, as I said, creative, or if you will post these promotions and these posts on your homepage channel on the web shops. But I wanted to say why we did it, because we said, okay, let's somehow be fair. And for all of you who are even having, like, let's say, smaller audience, you will be able to win this challenge. And this is not all, actually, because we really, truly wanted you to succeed in this. I have here with me together a special guest, and her name is Anđelka Ducić. And she is a full-stack digital marketeer, and she will be the one who will support you and explain to you how, in a practical way, with a practical hints and guidance, how to use and how to take this channel in order to get the award. And pay attention now, because I didn't mention what the award is. We would like you, who will be the winners of this challenge, and it will be 15 of you, to be with us for the 10 marketing meetup in person. So yeah, good luck with it. And I would like to thank Anđelka, because she is here with us, and she will be the one who will be supporting you and give you some hints how to be the one of 15. So thank you very much for being with us today. And yeah, the stage is yours now.
Thank you so much for inviting me, first of all. My name is Anđelka Ducić. I've been a digital marketer for the past, oh my God, a long time, since 2010. So like 15 years. I've worked for big and small brands, have extensive experience in automotive industry, worked mostly with the clients from the States, but also from Europe and all the way to China and South Korea. So I believe that I can help you with some insights, tips and tricks, and industry secrets today to help you win the award. So let's get into it. I have here a presentation. Let's just see if Zoom is gonna like me more. Okay, nobody's asking me for any pets and putting them in any kind of homes, so we're good there. I think you can see. Okay. So basically, I titled my presentation today, Creativity That Drives Engagement, because in today's overly saturated digital market, you have to be creative and on point and, you know, capture attention of your audience, because people are really overly stimulated with all the social media content that they see today. We are all overly stimulated with all the notifications we have on our mobile phones. It was much easier to capture attention of your audience a couple of years ago or like 10 years ago, you know, but in today's world where everybody is carrying their cell phone everywhere, including to the bathroom, you know, obviously you have to stand out in a way to increase sales, to increase visibility, and, you know, to get to your audience and get their attention and grab their attention. Attention span, currently people are in the industry are estimating is like 3 seconds. So if you don't grab their attention in 3 seconds, you're losing a potential lead and a potential sale. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's not just about creativity. It's about creativity plus consistency and some tips and tricks I'm going to share with you today. So let's get into what the power of social media is today and how you can harvest it to boost your sales. Let's get started. I hope everybody sees my screen well. So let's start with some golden rules. Basically, of course, when we talk about social media, there isn't a one solution fits all type of answer here. Otherwise, it would be a very brief presentation, right? Usually when we talk about social media, people usually assume we're talking about Instagram and Facebook, which we're going to be focusing on today. But of course, you can always venture out into other social media channels if you feel that works for you and that works for your clients and your audience. When we talk about other social media channels, we usually assume LinkedIn, maybe for boosting a little bit of more B2B type of connections, and or TikTok if you're trying to appeal to younger audience. what is also good about that is that videos, and we're going to be talking about video creation as well, can be used for both Instagram and TikTok. So, one solution can fit all. Instagram did introduce Reels as an answer to TikTok. So, you can always use it for both. But what is important as the first step is to have some sort of social media strategy, right? So like everything in life, you don't just go into it and hope for the best. I mean, you can, and sometimes it will work out for the best, but usually social media strategy matters. And what is important is that you realize that people are visual beings, right? And especially in social media, that's what captures their attention. So visual first. And your social media presence should be heavily focused on what the visual is going to be. It can be of an image, it can be a video, but it can be a carousel. But as long as it's something that's going to capture their attention, people want to see people. That's actually the reason why when they want to see real actual people and actual things. That's actually the reason why TikTok became increasingly popular at some point, not only because kids wanted to be there. I mean, that's usually what happens, right? Facebook was at some point very popular with young audience. Then their moms opened up Facebook accounts, right? So they moved to Instagram. Then their moms opened up Instagram accounts and they moved to TikTok, right? So, but beside that, at some point there was an oversaturated market of too polished posts on Instagram, right? Everything was too polished. Everything was too stock photos, right? Everything was too pretty and not real. So people wanted to see real things, and that's when TikTok appeared. So now Instagram is again answering to that and appealing to the older audience with, again, something that's real. So they want to see people in action. They want to see mechanics in action. They want to see, how that actually looks like, not just a polished photo from a studio photo shoot. Of course, that's great. And that sort of photos are perfect for like a web shop, for example, where people want to see a detail, a product in detail, for example. But on social media, you should probably focus more on creating content that is going to promote people first. What is important in marketing in general, and that's holy grail of social media, is a call to action. So you always want to have a call to action that's going to be clearly communicated to the audience what you want them to do when they see your post. Tap to order today, click here, buy now, sign up. You can get creative with it. Like for example, learn more is like less creative, but again to the point. Or you can be like, I want to improve myself, click here. Like whatever it is that you think that is gonna appeal to your audience, but as long as they are clear on what they need to do, because people really don't want to think, and help them with that, because we all have a lot of things on our minds, and nobody wants to be analyzing a social media post for a hidden meaning. So you tell them what you want them to do, and don't give them too many call to actions in one post, because again, you don't want people to be confused. So if the point of the post is order this or sign up for that, let's keep it simple and focus on one thing for one post, if that makes sense. So don't overly complicate things. And also, people want to know how something is going to benefit them. So that's usually something that's going to draw their attention, right? Obviously, something that people usually do, and it's a common, I wouldn't say mistake, but a common thing that people do is when you talk, write, or film about something that you know a lot about and you're a professional in it, you tend to a little bit overcomplicate things and focus on the things you think that are important, because you already know the basics, right? But sometimes you have to step out of your bubble and realize that maybe your audience doesn't know the basics and they want to know how something is going to benefit them before they get into specific features of a product. So, try to keep it simple, try to make it appealing to the audience, try to make it clear what you want from them, what they need to do in order to gain those benefits. So clear call to action. And also, again, complexity, not a thing for social media. A much more important thing is that you're consistent. Algorithm, both on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, but on TikTok and all the social media channels really, awards consistency. So Instagram is gonna push you more organically if you are always there. Same for TikTok, same for Facebook. They want to award the users that are consistent with posting. I said here 3 posts a week. It doesn't necessarily have to be 3 posts a week. It can be daily if you have enough content to do so. It can be less if you don't have enough time to do so. I can't really say that, there is a specific amount. The more, the merrier. But again, if you don't have enough meaningful content, then of course, again, don't be just posting something for the sake of posting. So, trying to find the perfect balance between creating, create meaningful content, and we're going to be talking about that as well, and the amount of content. So that is something that, I said 3 posts a week, which is something like, I guess, in between, in the middle, but, it really depends on you how much you can do. What is great about social media, especially about Instagram, for example, is that you can have maybe 2 posts a week, but daily stories. So because stories are something that's going to expire, right? In any case, so it doesn't have to be necessarily that extremely well thought out. It can just be, a little post like behind the scenes or something, so you can always share something just to keep that consistency going, just to keep being there, right? But of course, I said visual first. So visual is always going to be important, whether it's an image or a video, but caption needs to follow it, right? It needs to have something, it has to be explained, right? So think about copywriting. You need to give them a little bit more information in the copy, right? Unless it's already in the video, in which case you could maybe just say order today, right? But you should probably say, not just brake pads available, but brake pads for this and that, delivered this time, up to 4 times daily, or this 3-year guarantee or whatever. Give them a little bit more information. Again, don't overcomplicate things, but here, focus on a couple of benefits, give them a clear call to action, and call it a day. So that's for social media captioning, I have a very fun exercise that I can suggest to you. I usually do that with all my students. If you don't feel, of course, we're going to be talking about AI tools that can help you with copywriting, but if you want to be practicing yourself without the help of AI, you can, for example, go to any stock image website, Shutterstock or Pixabay or whatever, type in, for example, brake pads images, right? And you're going to have a lot of photos pop up. Pick 10 photos, and on top of your head, think if this is the photo you had to post, try to think of a caption that would go with that post. And give yourself a timer. I usually put a timer on 30 seconds. And you have 30 seconds to figure out what would the caption be with this photo. And then you can practice on different photos and different topics to come up fast with interesting captions. And at first it's gonna be hard, and then it's gonna be easier and easier and easier. And then when you can do that, and with the help of AI tools, this is gonna be a breeze. So I hope this was helpful. Let's dive into the main 2, I would say the main 2 social media channels that you're going to be using, which is going to be Facebook and Instagram. And as I said, I'm going to be a little bit, while I'm talking about Instagram, also communicating about TikTok because they're kind of connected. But, Meta is still, for your audience, going to be the main source of promotion and conversions. So let's talk about Facebook. Again, Facebook is not just about the likes. What you want to have is you want to have visibility, and that visibility you want to turn into engagement, and that engagement you want to turn into sales, right? So how are you going to do that? What is great about Facebook is, beside the fact that, a lot of your target audience is going to be on there, is that you have a lot of groups and communities you can join in. And with regular posting in those groups, you can connect with like-minded people, with your audience, with your potential partners, or whoever it is. It's something that other social media platforms don't really have. So you don't have something like that on Instagram or TikTok. So this is something that you can utilize for sales. Also, what are types of content that you can share on Facebook. You can write a little bit longer captions on Facebook than on Instagram, because Instagram is more focused on visual than Facebook, right? So you can write a little bit more about, for example, seasonal tips, winter tire tips, car maintenance. Maybe you have like some sort of checklists. People like the types of posts that are like top 3 things to do, top 5 solutions for that. That sort of things, give them something useful. And, obviously that's something you can, again, recycle at some point as a social media post, for example, as a video, or even make it into a series. So for example, car maintenance checklist, and then you make it into a series like, maintenance before a road trip, and maintenance before winter time, and then maintenance before, I don't know, different types of, and when you are purchasing a used car, for example. So you can have a couple of different videos or series of posts that can be connected in a certain topic, which again builds, people are going to be expecting that, right? So, they will be more inclined to engage with that sort of posts, right? Because they're going to be expecting the next post in the series, right? So basically, the only other thing I wanted to tell you was that it's important that you track your results, right? So you want to be able to see if your Facebook efforts and Instagram efforts and all the other social media efforts are actually bringing you some sales. Which is easiest way to do is to track links and clicks coming to your website or your web shop from social media channels. There are different tools that you can use to do that. For example, with LY. Also, you can add UTMs to your links. UTMs are used to track clicks in your Google Analytics. So for example, if you add a UTM parameter to the link you're going to be sharing on social media, you will be able to see in your Google Analytics exactly who came from Facebook, Instagram, or some other channel that can also be used for referrals, partner websites, or whatever it is that you want to be able to track. Once you have figured out Facebook, Instagram is going to be a breeze. Probably something that should be focusing more than on Facebook, and probably the most popular platform right now in the world is Instagram. So, focus where it counts, right? And what is different on Instagram than on Facebook is that on Instagram, you want to be focusing more on video, on images, on appealing visuals, as we already talked about. And of course, what Instagram allows you to do is to create reels. What are reels? Reels are short videos, something like YouTube Shorts, right? And you want to keep your reels dynamic, engaging, people first, and less than 30 seconds. Again, people have attention span of a goldfish. So, you want to be able to accommodate to that. You want to keep it short, sweet, and engaging. It's better to post multiple times during the week than post one long video, because you'll probably lose their attention. Meta has, and that's also applies to Google and YouTube, has this metric that basically tracks all the views of your videos and reels that are longer than 3 seconds. What does that mean? Because anything less than 3 seconds just means that somebody had the autoplay on, right? So, it started playing automatically once they saw your video, but it doesn't mean they actually watched it. So you want to look at that metric more than just the sheer number of views of your reels and videos, because that number is not real. It's not actual people. So you want to see who actually at least watched a couple of seconds of your video, if not the entire video, right? If you don't want to be posting reels all the time, you can do carousels or, single posts. Really depends on what you want. Currently, Instagram allows up to 20 images and or videos in one single post. Again, don't go too crazy with it. 20 slides is probably going to be too much unless there's something extremely important you want to communicate to them. So I would suggest 3 to 5 slides, keep it simple, keep it fresh, keep it easy, keep a clear call to action, right? Everything that we just talked about. And then again, what you can be doing is sharing stories. For the stories, you can really, really get creative. It would be ideal if you can post every day. If not, try to do as best as you can. You can do polls, quizzes, behind the scenes clips, tips and tricks. Again, people love to see other people. It would be ideal if there could be a certain person or persons that are going to be the face of the business and share those tips and tricks with them. If that's not an option, then of course you do you, but it would be best if there is a person that can share those things with the audience. What are some example reels that you can do? For example, 15-second oil change, like a time lapse. People love that sort of things. You can always look for suggested reels on your Instagram for inspiration. What are people are posting? There is nothing wrong with doing a little, competition research. Look at what other people are doing, adapt and use it for your own business. There's nothing wrong with that. People, if you have a TikTok account, also, look into trends on TikTok, because trends on TikTok usually, a month later come to Instagram Reels. So you can get some ideas there, what kind of topics are trending, what kind of what types of videos, what background music is currently trending, or sounds people are using for the videos. So for example, it really again depends on you as well, how playful you want to get with it. That really depends on your brand. Depending on the way of your communication style and your brand, you can be a little bit more playful, a little bit more funny in your videos, or you can be a little bit more serious. That really depends on the way you've been running your business. Both are fine as long as it fits your brand. For example, also you can ask your audience, again, we're going back to engaging them, asking them for their feedback. So you can do a story poll, for example. Do you recommend this and that? Would you do this and that? What do you think about this? Do you agree with this? Do you like this? So, ask them for some sort of feedback. Of course, if you're just starting and have literally no followers, then this kind of post really don't make sense. But when you have enough followers, you can always engage them more in your posts. People like to feel seen and be asked questions. So don't be afraid to do that. And again, you can learn something from your audience when they give you answers to your questions, right? I've talked a lot about videos. So, obviously you really need to figure out a way. I mean, nothing is mandatory, but it would be really great if you would deliver value with your videos and create value-driven content. And in today's world, it's not that hard. All the kids are doing it, right? If kids in primary school can create TikTok videos, so can you. So you just need a phone and some good lighting. You can buy this light ring, or even without it, with some good today's phones, you can really create decent videos, especially since the clips are going to be short. Keep them short and sweet. Again, show the people, show the product, people with the product. Some ideas for content, again, testimonials. Of course, that's something we call in digital marketing social proof. So it's actually the same thing when you see a lot of people queuing for a restaurant, right? That the restaurant is good. So, if you have a lot of testimonials of, people that are satisfied with your product or your delivery, or, the way you do business or your customer service, it's going to resonate with your audience. So, testimonials are something that people often forget about, and people love to see that. And also something that people also really love to see is all kind of scenes things, because again, people are bored with perfectly polished things. So they want to see how things actually look like, how things actually work. So, behind the scenes, don't be afraid to show things that are not perfect. Obviously, you don't want to show your flaws, but it doesn't have to necessarily be perfectly polished. So don't be afraid of creating video content because you think it has to be extremely beautiful and, you know, ready to win an Emmy Award. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. And there are tools today that they can help you with that. The most popular right now is called CapCut. You can download it as an app. It's extremely simple to use. Most of the TikTok creators and Instagram Reel creators today are using it. It's really self-explanatory. You can easily edit videos, add captions, you know, shorten them, and, you know, make it add music, add trending sounds, whatever it is that you need. Some other ideas are also here, so, you know, you can give it a try if something like that works. Also, we're going to be talking about AI in the next slide, but there are AI video tools as well today. Be careful with it though, because especially when it comes to people, they can still look really unrealistic, right? Be careful that the AI tool doesn't, you know, give your person in the video, you know, 6 fingers or, you know, 2 heads or something like that. But it can be quite useful, especially for product videos. So, for example, and let me then move to the next slide since I'm already talking about it, right? For example, for the videos, I also like something called Mojo app. I don't think I put this here, but you can give it a try. It's very good for products, not necessarily for people, but you can use it. Basically, you can just use a photo and it's going to add some interesting effects to it, and it can be quite impactful. Again, and we are still not, I know that AI is a buzzword right now, that everybody is talking about it, right? And obviously became an important part of everybody's lives today, but still we are far cry from AI ruling the world. So AI is still there to help humans, not the other way around. So you have to be present for your social media strategy, but you can utilize AI tools to help you with that. We talked about content creation, copywriting, and generating captions for your posts. Really, any currently popular AI tool is going to be helpful with that, but obviously ChatGPT is something that is the most popular, is going to be helpful with it as well. What I would suggest is that what is important is that you know how to prompt your ChatGPT correctly. So if you were just to say, create me, say, social media posts about brake pads, it would be much less efficient and much less creative and much less to the point than if you just ask directly, you know, write me 5 captions in Serbian for this and that, targeting this audience, focusing on this specific benefit, and, you know, add a call to action that's going to be this, right? So, you know, the better you prompt your ChatGPT, and I would suggest purchasing a premium plan. It's not that expensive and it allows you for more things to do. The better your captioning is going to be. And then once you, for example, use that and add a little bit of your own flair to it, it's going to resonate with your audience perfectly. For visuals, of course, I already mentioned Canva has its own AIs now, so you can use that as well. CapCut for editing, captions for titles, and of course, you can use all the other AI tools that you can think of. For example, to remove background from your product photos, you can use Remove BG, but also Canva has that option as well in their paid plan. So you can play around with, I think, like if you just have ChatGPT, Canva, and CapCut, you can really have your startup AI tool plan ready, right? And of course, why you're listening to me right now is that because you want to win in the challenge, right? What I can give you as some tips is that, again, grab their attention. Don't just use static photos. You know, instead of static photos, I will suggest reels or at least carousels. Think about the caption, add benefit, add a promo, add a call to action. What else did we say, right? Don't go too text heavy, especially not on images. Instead of that, you know, make a couple of images or videos like a carousel or a reel where somebody is talking about all the points that you would be putting in an image or a banner. Again, you know, give them some benefits. Be simple, be creative, be on point. And here is something else that I wanted to say. Try to be authentic. Again, in this world where somehow it feels that authenticity is on the losing side, right, in social media, and that everybody looks the same, everybody's doing the same things. Try to be yourself. Yeah, I already mentioned it several times. Your social media posts don't necessarily have to be perfect, but what they need to do is show your audience what you're offering. Don't be afraid to show them that you're real people. Obviously, you want to polish some things. You don't want to show all their flaws, but you want to be able to connect with them, and people connect with people. And still, as I said, AI is still outgrowing the world. So, people want to see real people and talk to real people. So always focus on that as well. And also focus on the fact that nobody has time to waste. Nobody's going to read or listen to, something so long. I'm already afraid that you're not listening to me anymore, but, we'll see about that. So think about some also fun ideas. As I said, if that works for your audience and if it works with your brand, use polls, engaging content, engage your audience, and, try to be as present as you can, right? So to wrap things up, if you're not on social media today, you don't exist. Unfortunately, that is true. And that's why an ideal combo is 3 C's, which I like to call consistency, creativity, and call to action. And also probably again 3 C's for the key AI tools, which is ChatGPT, Canva, and CapCut. So 3 C's all around. And what I would like to leave you with today is that think about social media as not a waste of time, as not something that is just for fun, for looking at cat videos or stalking your ex. It's very important for your business because smart social media presence can increase engagement. By increasing engagement and visibility, you boost your sales, and then you can get yourself a better person than your ex. So basically, that's pretty much all I had to tell you for today. Thank you for your time. Thank you if you stay with me this long. I know I said that you should keep things under 30 seconds, but I don't think this would be reasonable at this point. If you have any questions or if I can help you with anything, here's my contact info. And if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna pass this to my colleague.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you, Angelica, really very much. I actually appreciate it. I was listening all the time to you. And actually what I get as a main message, I would say, to be creative, to be authentic, to, work on a creative visuals. And I think that the message was sent to all of our customers. This is what we are also trying to do and to help also our teams, but the teams of our customers to do it in the best way. So thank you very much for your support and to being with us today. Okay, thank you also all of you who are with us. I will say constantly, thank you for your time. I just wanted to say that we will send over to you all the materials, the presentations. We will send you also the formula for the challenge. We will also send you the materials, all the contents, all the information that you will need it for it. And I just wanted to conclude this, that I think this is just the beginning of our really, let's say, exciting journey for the 10th Marketing Meetup, which will be next year. And thank you all one more time for being part of this Bilstein Group committee. Thanks a lot.